the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Motion from Derby and second from Smith to approve minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
9 a.m., consider for approval petition from DD 76 to become a supervisor controlled district and set canvas date.
Mike Hansen came to me. He is a trustee from DD 76, and one of the other trustees has passed away, and the third one doesn't want to do it any longer, and nobody else wants to either. So in looking at the code, there has to be a petition. What I did was send a letter out to the landowners and just had them write a letter back to me saying that that's what they wanted. So the petition today is the letters from the landowners.
How many landowners are there in?
There's 43, and so it needed to have 22 signatures from landowners who own more than 782.41 acres, which the acres definitely would qualify, and there are exactly 22. 1, 2, 3. There are 4 deceased landowners. So this is the petition. These are the landowners that signed it if you'd like to read them. The next thing is to set a canvas, which the canvas is basically the spreadsheet that I came up with that had the landowners and who has said yes to it.
So the deceased ones, they have a
Trust.
trust?
Well, and so Gary and Elaine Albertson, she sent me a letter. I counted them as 2 because it's still 2 people in the computer, but I could drop it down to 1 because there's only 1. Same thing with Dwayne and Lorraine Beeman. I could drop that down to 1 because he's passed away. And then Arlo Jacobson Trust, he's deceased, and Beverly Larson. So I could be down 2 less and still have enough because the spouse signed.
Barry Larson from Buffalo Center.
Yes.
My neighbor.
Oh, it is? Local Center, Beverly Larson, or the Beverly Larson Trust?
No, it's Beverly Larson from Buffalo Center.
She just fell. She's out in the nursing home right now.
Oh, I thought somebody said she passed away.
No, she's still alive.
Okay.
But she's.
So either way, there were still enough signatures without that.
My wife cleaned her house until she couldn't.
That's a different Beverly Larson than I, because Mike and Roseanne, Mike
That's who-
Larson's mom.
That's
is
why I
Beverly
asked. I
Larson.
thought it was.
That's what I thought too.
So.
Well, I knew Beverly owned some farm ground somewhere, but I couldn't remember where it was at.
Is it Mike's mom then, or not?
No, she's deceased.
Okay. But this one indicated
It
it's
must
not
be
the.
someone different.
Well, and I got the letter back. The envelope came back from the Beverly Larson. So I don't know who it is. I don't know.
Somebody responded that they were okay with it.
Does Mike farm that?
I don't know where that property is.
Oh, the letter came back, like nobody picked it up?
It was undeliverable.
I don't know why that, well,
Yeah, need to look at that.
Why?
Well, if you have a Beverly Larson in Buffalo, and she should be a deceased, like Mike
It
and them.
might be someone that owns property.
It might be another
But-
Beverly Larson.
But if we have what we feel is qualified 22 yeses,
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not a worry, but.
I don't
Right.
think so.
it can't be overturned.
I mean, it doesn't matter who owns it,
Right.
whether they're deceased or not, I don't know, but
Right, it's
There's
just that
still
when
enough.
the letter came back, it just kind of sends up red flags, it kind of
Well,
makes you go,
it just says not deliverable, unable to forward. And I
I
always
would
keep these
assume that they would
envelopes.
have, because she was in a hospital and in a higher level care place, and now she's at Buffalo Center, hoping to go back home soon. So in that whole transition, maybe they can get something forwarded
What's the
right.
address on there, Chris, just because we're curious.
502 4th Street Northeast.
Buffalo Center.
That's
That's hers.
that's hers.
And Julie's also part of it, but she doesn't want to be a trustee.
So there's no one that is interested in taking over the trustee part of it.
Right.
And there would need to be 2 more, because there needs to be 3. And Mike doesn't want to do it either, so you basically need to find 3 more.
So it's not like the trustees are giving up any of their say in it, or responsibilities, or ability to help control it. It's just that you have to, it'll just run through here. You can still come in and say, we're not interested in this
Right.
improvement, or
That's right.
now we did it. Terry's getting out his map.
I just wanna see where it's at. I
I'm gonna look that one up too.
I know the area, I just wanna see how expansive.
It's not very expensive.
78.
76.
So west side of Landy, west of Landy, just across the road.
Yeah.
That's the road. There.
I was just gonna say, I think it's out. Hard to read with all the dots on there.
So it's entirely in Susan's district.
We like drainage. Some people don't, but we do. Hey, Chris?
Way to hide it,
Just the sheriff's department seems to have an issue.
right?
What they got against.
So what you're asking today is to approve the petition,
Right.
and then what's the next step? You
Set that canvas date.
set the canvas date.
And it does not say in the code how long that has to be. Oh, not less than 10 nor more than 30 days from the date of the petition. So if that's today,
Probably have to send out notices or not, since we already sent
No,
notices to these
no.
people, you don't have to.
because you are doing the canvas.
So in 2 weeks then?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you get a motion on the
I'll make a motion to approve the petition from DD 76 to become a supervisory controlled district and set the canvas date for, what is the date? April
April 4th.
4, does that work? April 4?
I'll second it. And I suppose we don't have to have a time on that either.
Okay, a motion from Smith and a second from Derby to approve the petition from DD 76 to become a supervisor controlled district and set the canvas date for 4/4/23. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thanks for your work on this, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll maybe get to see you more often then.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
every
Mike.
day.
You do.
And I don't have anything else for drainage.
Oh, so if we go to, which one is it? Oh, there's the next one.
I did that on
Down for
purpose.
it. Okay, auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
I don't have anything.
All right, I don't either.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thanks. Well, technically, we've got to wait 5 minutes.
Anything small we can do.
Everything's got to do with you.
Go down to 15 maybe.
to go to do that, I guess. 15, consider for approval semi-monthly county claims.
Yes.
Carmen, Brody in today?
Yes, yes. It's fine.
I need in there though.
No, he went,
I need some toner from him.
Oops. I did use mine. Sorry, I signed it. I was in the in the fog.
Thank you for your support.
Robert,
Oh, nice.
Ariel,
I can see that's up in the air, yeah.
I have a bunch of them.
Oh, good.
We'll give them to you.
Do you need me to get you a J sticks or something like this, or maybe a link to them? Whatever you can do.
Yeah, I'll just,
Yeah.
I'll ask him.
For what? How about the bunch for the argument?
Send it direct. Oh, he's got all sorts. They're really
Cool.
cool.
Yes, it is.
Actually, from the very beginning.
Required.
Oh, good. That'd be nice if we can put together a PowerPoint program at some point. You know, I go up there every week. Well, I'm up actually three, four times a week. If I know they're progressing. And taking pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
there's, I'm sure he'll put it together. He'll probably stitch them together. So
Okay.
it's,
And I get him to give me permission to use them for whatever, and I can send them to the newspaper too. I think they'd like.
yeah, they make fun just cooler than ground level.
Oh yeah, it just gives you a different perspective.
I'll make
Now
a-
that they're above ground, it's.
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-monthly county claims.
I'll second.
Motion Derby and a second from Smith to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, we almost killed enough time.
Close enough.
Okay, me and Susan said it was close enough. 9:14:45.
It says right there, 9:15.
It's not 9:15 yet.
Right there it says.
Oh, on that one it says 9:15. Okay, all right, we're set.
There you go.
Mine does not.
Charlie?
Here's the different times.
Yeah, I never.
It's been a while since I've given you an update on where we're at. I know if you've driven by, you're seeing that things are going up and they're hanging rafters last week, and then they should finish that, hanging the trusses this week. But I also wanted to give you so we're actually right now, if you look at that schedule, we're on number 30. And they've skipped a couple of, or at least parts of a couple of things, the backfill and mechanical, the rough ends. They haven't done that yet. They're thawing out the ground underneath there as we speak, and they haven't poured any cement in the basement, of course, yet. But so we're a little behind schedule, but looks like fairly decent weather. We've got a little rain coming in, but the wind is really more of an impact on things than anything. We've got some pictures there. And Susan has looks like a nice variety of some drone photos that she's gonna share with me. So that first picture there is taken from Highway 69. They're kind of to the northeast, and then the others are inside the building and outside the building. They'll put sheeting down as soon as they get the rafters up, and shingles have been ordered. It doesn't sound like there's any major holdups as far as materials. I know they were waiting on components for the elevator, which sounds like they've got that taken care of, getting that approved as far as the design. The elevator shaft is in up to the floor level. And as far as expenditures, as of my last board meeting, we had pay request number 6. We've expended $523,374.54 from construction, on the construction side, and $15,993.65 on the construction administration and engineering and testing. Conservation Board has received, I believe it's $550,000 from the Friends of Winnebago County Conservation Foundation at this point. And that's what we're using to pay the bills as they come in, paying them generally once a month. The pay requests come in once a month. And that seems to be, that's been working well. I've got that on that third page there as far as our revenues. We're continuing to write grants. We did a direct mailing on March 2nd, went out to Winnebago County property owners, a little over 4,000, and we've been receiving donations since that time, just about daily. The foundation is hosting an online auction. Hallberg Auctioneering is working with us, and this past Saturday they collected items at Thompson and in Forest City. Now this next Saturday they'll be setting up at Hoffbauer Seeds at 9 o'clock in Buffalo Center from 9 to 10:30, collecting donated items. And then they'll go over to Lake Mills to the Aquatic Center parking lot from 11 to 12:30. And they had a trailer full of things donated the past weekend. And folks that can't make it to any of those times, all they have to do is give us a call at 641-565-3390, which is our office number, or they can email us at info@winnebagoccb.com. Let us know what they've got, and we'll make arrangements to either have them drop it off, or we'll get somebody up to them and collect the items. And they're accepting anything like clothing, and if it's got an electrical cord on it, they want it to work. This past weekend, it was everything from, there was an antiques, dishes, furniture, number of dozens of goose decoys, lawnmower, farm tractor, toy tractors. We got a John Deere and a Farm Hall, really nice combo there, and then just kind of everything in between, everything. So the auction will start on April 10th and go to the 20th. And there'll be more about that going forward too. And there's more information on the county's website as well for that. And it was in the shopper the last 2 weeks as far as the location, the times for the donation drop-off.
Where's the actual products going to be at?
They'll be online. So,
Where
but
will people pick them up at?
Hallberg Auction, west of Thompson. It's the old SAP auction yard there. SAP's name is still involved in it, I think, to some degree, it seems like.
Yeah, he did for a while. I don't know if it's.
Jason Hallberg, and the foundation's worked out a deal with them.
When's the auction?
It'll be April 10th through the 20th. It'll be 10 days. It'll end on the 20th. So get on that website and start bidding when you can. We've got some farm equipment that's going to be donated, we've been told. And this gentleman right here donated antique scale and and some sheriff's too. I saw him Saturday. So.
I got John.
I was just gonna say, wife made you get rid of it, huh?
Spring cleaning, it's that time of year, you know, it's gonna be
Couldn't
nice,
sell
it's gonna be nice this week, be a good time to
Yeah.
get those things, ready to go. And then the other thing that we're gonna be doing too, the foundation's doing, going forward here within the next month, they'll be doing an insert in the shopper that'll go out to almost 11,000 households. It'll be that Nature Center flyer. It gives you information about the Nature Center, how you can donate, and that whole thing. So it'll be, it's the same thing that went out in the direct mailing, just to Winnebago County property owners. But that, yeah, anyway, so that'll be going out here, and that, I don't think the date has been set, but sometime probably in about a month or so. We're still working on a match. You know, we'd got, the foundation had received a pledge from Randy and Mary Jane Hagenson, formerly of Thompson, for a $50,000 match, and we're matching that with the donations that are coming in now, and so that will help us to hit that $100,000 mark here. We're just a little under 70,000 right at this time on that. And as I mentioned, we continue to working on grants and personal contacts and that type of thing. So it's we're moving forward. Need things to dry up there. It's kind of a mess.
I was just gonna say, it's gotta be,
Yeah, it's so muddy. But
I don't
a
even,
little rain will help, and then we get things dried out again.
I don't even like walking from my vehicle into my shop, let alone stomping it
Yeah, you
all day.
can't, yeah, At some point, try to get you, maybe we can get you up there and have a little tour of the project here. I know my board members talked about maybe having one of our next meetings.
Oh, well.
Any questions?
No, it's good to see progress.
Yeah.
I don't get to go by near as often as these two probably do. But,
Was this put together by Kingland then? This-
Yeah, and that's, I think the second version, they updated it. It's been over a month ago.
And who is KCS again?
Kingland Construction
Oh,
Services.
that's just
Yeah,
Kingland
just-
Construction,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
I didn't-
Yeah, the subcontractors are pretty much listed over there on the right-hand side. You can see.
almost sounds like an implement dealer.
Yeah.
One of them, Casey Nielsen, it used to be. KCM.
Now they're KCS snowplows.
Yeah, that's true.
Has there been any issues in getting product and supplies or?
The only, nothing, I just talked to the foreman, the project foreman Friday, and they had been kind of waiting on the electronics to be approved for the elevator. But no, there hasn't, right now, everything is, the architects are caught up as far as approving submittals from subcontractors, and there hasn't been any issues, just lately anyway, as far as materials. And they ordered shingles this past week, so they said they're about two-week lag on those. Got a local contractor doing the roofing. So it sounded like once they got the sheeting on, the roofer would come in and get it shingled fairly quickly. We just approved the siding. We're putting on a LP smart siding. It's kind of a composite material, come primed and ready to go on. I haven't heard anything on windows. I know those have been ordered, but I don't know what the status is on those. So, no, nothing's holding them up now, just the weather and the wind. So I'll try to get in a little, maybe more frequently, and give you updates.
Yeah, when it dries up at all, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, definitely can get you up there and take a tour.
Okay, well, thanks for the update. We'll move Move on to number 5, Scott Minders, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Morning.
Morning.
From a project and engineering standpoint, we don't really have anything, so why don't you talk about maintenance?
Started the guys today, we're trying to spot load and hit some of those bad spots, because it kind of looks like weather's trying to cooperate, roads are starting to come back around, we're doing some spot blade and knocking ruts down. Got kind of a small window there, like yesterday morning was froze for quite a while, so grind on them, and then it gets good, and then it starts getting sloppy, so it's kind of a trick out there, but hitting some of those bad spots, it looks like now if we do get snow, it'll be kind of that wet, heavy snow, keep our blades up to keep that material on the roads, but got our dirt crew guys are in the shop getting excavators out and getting that stuff serviced, so when it does get nice, we can hit the ground rolling and get some of those work orders done and projects and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's that time of year again.
Yeah,
Every year about this time.
feels good.
Yeah.
Wear a sweatshirt outside and it's kind of comfortable. So.
Yeah, I heard him early out yesterday, must have been yesterday morning,
Yeah,
straighten up a few curves or
trying to
ruts.
get as much time out there as we can. So like those high ruts, and we're just topping them off, trying to get them back in the rut. And just trying to get over routes. Really, a lot of rutted up stuff out there for sure. So.
So do they just do the whole route, or do they just kind of know where they need to go?
They've been driving around in pickups and stuff like that when we weren't able to, so when we do get back in the machine, it's go hit these spots here, here, here. So it's not a guessing game really, a whole lot, but I mean, stuff changes so fast out there too on weather conditions.
Yeah, and how much traffic we have.
Yeah, who's hauling corn or who's hauling whatever and stuff like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the embargo coming up, with that, it's, there's, you can embargo the road, but not for people who wanna haul corn and feed, it was one of the stipulations at the end there, if I remember right, they gave the exemptions.
It's kind of more of a leg to stand on to a point, you know, you can kind of keep them to a route, in and out, instead of come in this way, leave that way, tear 5 more miles up that way. It just kind of gives you something to say, hey, let's contain the mess to this instead of a free-for-all. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to tell someone, hey, you can't drive down that public road.
Especially timing wise, they need to, you know, be nice. Early morning, call a couple loads early in the morning, call it good for the day.
Yeah. And for the most part, everyone's pretty decent to work with.
It is what it is every year. Anything else for secondary roads? We'll move on to number 6, consider for approval temporary easement for bridge replacement project Buffalo Township, section 9.
3rd of 4 easements for the bridge replacement project north of the Buffalo Center, north of our Buffalo shop. This one's with Kevin and Connie Deering for $200, 0.2 acres. Like I said, this is the 3rd of the 4th one. The 4th one I was optimistic I'd have by now, but I don't.
The Lee Masters,
So I don't know.
you want me to call them, warm them up?
I think so. I think it's time. We're, as you can see, we're approving the plans and specs, so that means we're moving things forward to letting, so we really need to get it done.
I'll give them the business. each other up, give each other the business all the time.
Whatever it takes, I'd like to have it done in the next couple of weeks.
All right, I'll make a note to call. Haven't talked to him in several weeks anyway, so. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the temporary easement for bridge replacement project Buffalo Township, Section 9 with Kevin and Connie Deering for $200.
I'll second.
Motion from Jen, second from Smith to approve the temporary easement for bridge replacement project Buffalo Township, Section 9, Kevin County Deering for $200. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Takes a signature from you, Bill, and then a notarized Carla. Notarizer. See you later, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
Hey, Robert. It's coming up. You did it.
How long does a temporary easement last?
Just to the completion of the project, so that's a little bit subjective, but basically when we make,
Stated in there,
yeah, when it says it terminates upon completion of the project, so, you know, in practice, it would just be when the dirt works and the seeding gets completed, but we would take care of anything that eroded or anything like that too.
Should we call him in?
I don't know, they're looking at us.
Steve? Well, we're discussing things that have a lot of drainage in it right now. We figured you guys didn't want to miss out on it.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, yeah.
Steve, turn around.
We really didn't need you. We're being facetious.
Didn't want you to miss out.
yeah.
Okay, approval plans and
Oh,
specific.
you gotta go to 11.
Oh, yeah, that's 9:30. And we do want you guys, I guess.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun. Just a little bit ago, it was a quarter after. 9:30 a.m., Mike Dressler, Chief Deputy, to discuss purchasing new equipment with possible action.
Yes, please.
So when we did our budgets, I had in there money for buying new car cameras, body cameras, and laptops. This is the quote I received from Sector, and the total is $197,095. And as we have done in the past, we usually did before we did a 5-year thing with our current cameras. This time around, I would like to do a 3-year buyout, which would make it $65,698.33 a year. Because if you go past 3 years, then you got to start paying interest. They eat the interest if you do a 2 or a 3-year buyout. And this would be non-taxpayer money because it comes from the room and board. Is what we pay for it out of. So that's what we're looking at. And at the end of the 3-year agreement, it says $1 buyout, but the equipment is yours. There is no $1. They got to put that in there.
So what happens to the old equipment?
We will get to keep this, the old equipment that we have now. I don't know if Caltech's going to want that back. I mean, it's past its usable life because 5 years of computers.
So is it
We're
a
having all sorts of
computer
problems.
generated, that's just not
Oh,
supported?
they're
Right.
actually having problems too.
Oh yeah, our touch screens are constantly, the mouse is moving and
When
you
you're
can't
not.
click. Yeah, right. Yeah, we're having issues. It's at the end of it. Body cameras are 3-year lifespan. This current system here, after 3 years, we get to keep the body cams we have. They automatically give us new body cameras and we get to keep the old ones. We could use them in the jail or whatever. This system here is better because they're coming up with a system that will link it to Carpel, which is what the county attorney's using for their management software, what we dump our videos in. Currently, what we're using, the Panasonic ones, it's a pain to get it into the system. You got to download it to your computer, zip the file, before you can download it into the Carpel system, because there's so much. It's not just the file that it down, one file, it's like numerous files, and it takes forever to get it to download to the system. This comes as an MP4. It's all cloud-based, so we don't have to put a new server in out there like we had to last time. It'll go from our car to the cloud. Every car will have a mobile hotspot basically in it, so if we have a big incident, actually our squad car could be a mobile hotspot for numerous people that need Wi-Fi access. So, and that seems to be what everybody's going to, because with that, we don't have to have the data card in our laptop, and we've been having connection issues, and you don't have that no more when you got the mobile hotspot in there, the Sierra wireless link. So, but that's what we're looking at. The only thing I will say is we budgeted $53,000 out of the room and board fund for this next budget. We would have to do an amendment to get to the $65,000, which it's, the money's in there. It's just that we'd have to amend it.
So my first question is, does this gotta be under the leases? Do we have to have a public hearing or anything?
Unless we paid for it all up front, then we wouldn't have to, right? Or is it, you know, like technically you lease the,
Anything over multiple years payment is considered.
but I mean, if we paid it one lump sum, we wouldn't have to make it, spread it out.
Right. And we don't want to pay for it in one lump sum. There might be enough in there, but next year if we would have to buy a car out of that, we don't want to deplete that.
I can understand why you want to do
I mean,
it, especially if it's interest-free.
Interest free, that's why we were
Yeah.
choosing the
It's
three.
not a major thing, it's just we have to do a public
Right.
hearing.
Have to do it.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
new rule they came out with.
But yeah,
We've always had to do the public hearing. We're just gonna have to track the lease under the GASB 87.
right. I mean, it seems like a good system. There's some other places that are going to this. It's really user-friendly, and it's got a lot of neat software that's up to date. And quite frankly, this is cheaper than the last one we got, and we're 5 years later, so. And I did some working on them to get this number down, because it was $216 before.
I've found anything to do with videos and things like that, anything cloud-based
Yep.
is much faster and easier.
Yep. And then we don't gotta worry about if there's an issue with losing the video, that's on them because we paid for the service. And so that's where we're at, I guess.
It includes all the maintenance.
Yep, it's a maintenance agreement where it's 5-year warranty on everything. It's a maintenance agreement, they'll come up and fix it. There's just a $100 service ticket fee if they gotta come up, but they eat everything else.
So can we approve it pending the public hearing? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the new sector system equipment for over a 3-year period.
I'll second.
Motion from Derby and a second from Smith to approve the sector equipment over a 3-year period. Pending the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, guys.
No, functioning equipment is very, very important in your guys' business when it comes to that stuff
So
for
do you know,
legal reasons and health reasons.
right, you know when that hearing is?
We'll put it on next week to set the public hearing.
Okay.
Come and talk to me, I've got,
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you guys. Sorry we had done drainage earlier.
We'll catch you next time.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. That's good advice.
Okay, now,
Yeah, they're cool.
number 7. Consider for approval, resolution to establish 5-ton axle weight limit on all roads in Winnebago County.
If you remember, we have passed a resolution similar to this about every year. It is a tool for our department to be able to post weight limits if it becomes necessary. There are a lot of exceptions. So ultimately, what I think that this in practice looks like is if we see somebody hauling that's damaging the road, we'll intervene and try and make contact with that hauler like we have been. And if we have a commercial hauler that is refusing to cooperate, we'll probably have to take signs out there with a law enforcement officer and intervene that way. If nothing else, it's a message to all the farmers and haulers out there that this is the time of year, where we got to pay attention to the road conditions.
Yeah.
So it has some limitations, but I think it's worthwhile.
Well, even with the limitations, it still will make a lot of people at least think twice before they.
Hopefully.
I don't know if you want those.
I get it.
So how does that affect buses?
In a few, what was it, 19 when the road, I don't think we're gonna get near that bad. We're already past that point, but 19 when the roads went to, the buses were hard surface only at that time. So.
Well, and for the buses, because those buses are helpless. Unless you've got a really good driver in there, some of them roads are impassable. I mean, those things slide around like you can't believe.
Yeah, and if we do post a segment of road, we'll advertise it and they get it directly from our systems.
Okay. I know in Minnesota there was a bus that was halfway in with the wheel and stuff.
Yeah.
That's Minnesota.
I've talked to a few people and they've been with bad spots and they've actually had kids getting picked up at the intersection just to avoid the bus going in the bad spots. I mean, the buses seem to be on top of it.
They don't want to go to those areas.
Right.
See what they did in my driveway.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to establish a 5-ton axle weight limit on all roads in Winnebago County.
A second.
A motion from Derby, a second from Smith, to approve the resolution to establish 5-ton axle weight limit on all roads in Winnebago County. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Now, just to clarify this for anybody who's confused on YouTube or listening, it's, you're not posting that on all the roads. It just gives you the ability to post a road,
That's right.
any one of them.
Right. So we have mobile signs that we can go sandbag down wherever they need to be put.
It kind of sounds like we're posting all roads, and nobody's going to do anything. Okay, number 8, approve plans and specifications for E9W1 bridge replacement project number BRSCO 9579-6095.
These are plans for a bridge replacement project on County Road R20 north of Buffalo Center. The first bridge north of Highway 9, about 1.25 miles north. The bridge will be replaced by 16 by 12 precast concrete box culvert. And the project is expected to go through an Iowa DOT letting on June 20th. So if the availability of concrete boxes is acceptable and the contractor has time, it could possibly be done this fall or into the winter. Otherwise, it could also be anytime next spring or summer. We're going to give a pretty big window for the contractor to begin because we're in no real hurry. And the more time you give them, usually the better price you get. So can't tell you exactly the timeline on this other than it could be this fall. And the project is estimated to cost a little short of $500,000. Any questions?
probably said it, I just missed it. Where's it at?
On R20 north of
Deering.
Highway 9.
It's that one. All right.
That one, yep. This says federal funds, so 80% of the cost is federal aid, and then 20% comes from our farm to market account. So you won't see any of the bills or anything on our claims until we approve the final payment, whenever that'll be.
So are those the plans and specifications?
These are, like to see them. This project isn't terribly unique, other than it has, the creek bends real sharply on the west side of the road, so there are a couple of bends in the box.
The box.
Box culvert will
The
actually,
bend is that close to the road, is it?
yeah, you know, the box culvert ends up being 100 and some feet, so by the time you get that stretched all the way out, it gets shot into the bank, so
Okay. Yeah.
3 sections
So
will
I
have,
wanna direct it down the channel.
right,
So the
Julie
opening is 90,
has joined.
90 feet long and the bend is at 72 or something? Is that what it is?
it kind of depends on how you want to say it.
Inside or outside?
Because, right, the barrel sections go so far, and then there's tapered end sections on both sides.
Cool, huh?
It's pretty deep, and it's got the bends. That explains a lot of the cost. Pavement patch, some of those things make it cost more than a typical gravel road replacement. I think a 16 by 12 concrete box bend isn't the cheapest thing.
No, yeah, it would be, add quite a little expense to it to have the bend in it.
Yeah, about double the cost of a regular barrel section. We looked at a number of different alternatives for this location, including different kinds of bridges and culverts. And I think this is the best option in the long term, and there wouldn't be many options that are less expensive. The ones that are would be a, you know, a shorter lifetime.
If you had a straight barrel and then you just reinforced the bank that it was shooting at, I suppose that would cost money too, but,
Yeah.
you put a concrete, so it would off of that.
Yeah, you know, we looked at skewing the box further so you could kind of cut the corner in half, and it just makes the box so long that you end up spending more money in length than bends. This one will look pretty when we're done. I mean, it'll fit in there nice, you know, and, you know, when you're driving over it, you won't even know it's there.
I assume number 9 is just is it the same thing over again?
We only sent it once.
I didn't know if you just wanted to get some overtime in on it, or?
No, we got one set of plans to
You say,
duplicate. So it's
people get busy,
not for me to
other
explain.
things undermine. Yeah, I need to.
Never.
Eric drew this entire plan set, so I'm giving him a little credit on that too.
It looks,
He spent a lot of time on it. He's come a long way in his drafting skills.
so he produced all of that.
Mhm.
Looks good.
What do we need to engineer for them?
Sign it.
Need a signature still.
Yeah.
Oh, the legalities, you're lucky the legalities are there. All right, well, I guess it isn't my discharge, so I better make the motion. I'll make a motion to approve the plans and specifications for E9W1 Bridge Replacement Project number BRS CO 95796095.
I'll second it.
Motion Jeswell, second for Derby, to approve the plans as stated. All in favor say aye.
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 Signature block for each of you there for historical purposes.
Do your hand.
$500,000.
Mhm.
Oh, no, there we go.
Concrete box culverts have gone up, you know, probably one of the more dramatic increases of all the construction products, I'd say. I mean, because a lot of it's hauling it to the site, you know, they make them all 3 miles away. So you got all cost of fuel
I
for,
haven't seen any others.
right, all those things are full of diesel fuel running out there.
So the life expectancy of this is,
I mean, 100 years is a rule of thumb, I guess. I mean, you know, we won't know that until we're dead.
Yeah.
we won't know that.
Yeah, you know, there's concrete box culverts out there in the system that are so old we don't have dates on, and they still are in good shape.
Amazing, isn't it?
There's an old boy that used to work for us, and then somebody be all upset about something machinery wise. And he, after whoever was really upset with all, he says, 100 years from now, none of us will give up.
I mean, I'm thankful for all the, you know, good choices that they made in the, you know, 1920s and 30s and 40s.
They lasted long. It lasted long, especially the wood. Yeah, it's just amazing that it lasts that long.
And you get a nasty enough chemical in there.
Yeah,
it lasts a
creosote.
while.
You know what you don't want to do? You don't want to cut up a whole bunch of telephone pole bottoms with a chainsaw with shorts on.
Yeah, we try to make sure our guys are taking care of themselves when they work around it.
You know, I know someone who figured that out the hard way and spent a while sitting in a tub with cold water.
It's just a plant material, isn't it? Creosote?
Yeah, I imagine it's oil-based.
I don't know.
Creosote's got something else in it besides oil.
It burns.
Oh, it does. My legs were on fire. I only did it twice after that. So.
When we remove bridges, they're wearing long sleeve shirts and
Yeah, it sounds nasty. Is it even legal anymore? I think you almost
I'm
have
not
to.
sure, if you buy new stuff, you know, they treat it with like copper naphthalate, different
Yeah,
things.
the green stuff. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we discussed number 9, so we can move on to number 10. Consider for approval, utility permit for WCTA to bury fiber optic cable on 20th Avenue.
So this bridge project has a lot of parts to go with it, and this is one of them. The fiber optic cables aren't deep enough to be able to put this box in, so they're gonna have to rebore underneath.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, they gotta rebore underneath the creek beforehand so that they're out
I
of
was
the way.
just gonna say, they would probably wanna do it beforehand and make the connections, so that having to wait until you guys are done would be a little inconvenient.
Yeah, I mean, not most likely, but it's a good possibility that we would we'd have to cut the fiber in order to get the box installed.
Mhm. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the utility permit for WCTA to bury fiber optic cable on 20th Avenue.
I'll second that.
Motion Campbell, second Smith, to approve the utility permit for WCTA to bury fiber optic cable on 20th Avenue. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Just one signature on there. That's all the different order of pages, yeah.
Morning, Ron.
Morning.
Grab that top one, that's yours.
Okay. Not quite 10 a.m. Do forum, I suppose.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Sixteen, maybe.
What's that?
Can we just go to 16?
Yeah, I guess we can get that one quick. We're under 16, consider for approval resolution authorizing Winnebago County to enter into the settlement agreements with Teva Pharmaceutical Industries Limited, Algerian Finance LLC, Walgreen Company, Walmart Incorporated, CVS Health Corporation, and CVS Pharmacy Incorporated. And this is over the opioids.
Mm-hmm.
And these people can't distribute it without prescriptions, can they? Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that they were I would have thought that it would have been
The manufacturers rather than the,
either even the manufacturers, you would almost think it would be the doctors who prescribe it, because you can't get it without a prescription, I don't think.
They feel like there was improprieties there, so.
Well, evidently there was. And it's a settlement agreement, so it must have been litigated. What do you guys think?
I think it's worth being involved with.
do we have the resolution?
Yeah, I'm printing it.
So this is entering in settlement agreements, so there's no number yet.
You guys already agreed to do this,
Yeah.
you just, it's
A
a
resolution.
resolution.
It's where the lawyers get rich.
Well, I don't care for it, I guess. I also don't want people doing wrongdoing, but, my guess is all these corporations here will pass on the expenses to the rest of us in the future.
So did we learn much on what we can use the opioid funds for?
I would assume it would just be a general budget thing, wouldn't it?
No.
No, very restricted. War strategies. Okay.
With 3 different law firms that are in the litigation. Allocation is 50% to the state, 50% to participating local governments. Net fees and costs allocated to Iowa Backstop Fund.
That's all after lawyers' fees.
Well, they have a lot of pain and suffering. I don't mind them making a living, it's just sometimes
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing Winnebago County to enter into the settlement agreements with the pharmaceutical and pharmacy companies.
As listed,
Yes.
I'll make that motion as well. Second that motion, sorry.
Motion from Derby and another motion from Smith.
Put it that way.
Sorry, it's a whole new deal.
Me too.
Yeah, a second from Smith. To move into, to approve the resolution authorizing Winnebago County to enter into a settlement agreement with the companies listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. 10 a.m., Julie Sorensen, Public Health, to discuss environmental health and sanitarian position.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I have Ron there too.
Yep.
He's smiling
So
far.
Ron put in his resignation for his last day would be July 30th, and he's going to retire.
July 30th?
I believe Carla
June 30th.
Yep, or June 30th. Excuse me, June 30th. And Carla has that letter, and it kind of explains all that what he does. And I guess we need to, or you guys need to decide how you want to handle his position.
I have a copy too.
Okay.
Give it to the chair. You're getting around pretty good, Ron.
Starting to limp around.
Oh, somebody forgot.
Come after it.
He'll be after us.
Yeah, they shouldn't be too long before they miss it. So you must be 62 then, huh? Eligible for retirement?
Pretty close to 62, it'll be 72 now.
Yeah.
I just been serving this county for 15 years.
It'll go right here.
I know, I just remembered that. Well, then he'll just have to figure it out, won't he?
Well,
Well, I don't know if it's Roberts or Scott's.
And,
he'll be back for it.
and tattoo artists.
But not tanning beds anymore.
Oh, really?
I learned that the other day.
Yeah, the state dropped that program.
We did. So you have to go in and make sure that they have all the proper
Yeah, they follow the procedures.
procedures or, you know, or
Follow.
proper antiseptic,
Yeah, make sure that they're using
cleaning their equipment.
So
good project.
pool operators would be the public pools?
Basically, yeah, I do the ones in Winnebago County, and then I do the two in Worth County.
Okay.
So is that like hotel
Yeah, the hotel's
pools?
up by Diamond Joe's.
Mhm.
Those are the ones in Worth. And then Manly, Northwood. Or Manly.
I was approached by the administrator from Hancock County and one of the board members. Their environmental health sanitarian is also retiring in May, and asked if what we thought about sharing. I told them I would have to discuss that with you and get back to them. So that was on the table. And then Ron approached and said maybe we could share duties in our county with another department, zoning. So I guess those were the, however you want me to list the ad, I guess. Or Carla list the ad. I know the Board of Health interviews and then make their recommendation to you guys. That's how it was done when Ron was hired. It was a Board of Supervisors, Board of Health member, and the administrator, and then we made the recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, and then they hire the environmental health person.
So I'm wondering if this was combined, say, with like a zoning administrator position, would it still be, I suppose there'd be involvement from public health on the interview process?
Just for the
For their
environmental.
Probably.
It complicates things a little more if you're interviewing two parts of it.
Yeah. Just talked to Tim Missel. You might contact him. He might want to try this job, but I'd have to train him on that. If you look at the list of things you need to know, it's fairly extensive.
Is there,
Nobody can afford to do it part-time unless they're retired.
is there a certain criteria you have to meet as far as knowledge or education?
Not to my knowledge, the state doesn't have any
Okay.
guidance on that. It's about a couple of years ago, they tried to do that, but it didn't go through.
So the discussion at the Board of Health was that it is always helpful if they have a science background of biology,
Biology,
chemistry,
chemistry,
you know, would of course be helpful, but not.
And that can be probably determined through the interview process.
Exactly.
right, and
And
they'll
then
be
and
having
then the
some training sessions that they'll go to.
So does that just need to get to put on a future agenda to have these discussions, or?
Well, I guess we gotta have a,
We can discuss it now as far as which way we want to.
whether we wanna contact Hancock and move forward with sharing someone, or,
Or come up with another plan?
You know, I look at, if we shared with Hancock, it's one of those things where we share the EMA, and it was a 5/8, 3/8, and then we ended up going to a 50/50, but in something like this, you know, there's more coverage down there because of the extra townships. Is it fair to have a 50/50 agreement there?
One thing you
And
might
I believe
consider
Ron
is-
said our procedures to Winnebago County are a little bit different. His duties are a little bit different than Steve's are, so you'll have to look at that too if you share.
well, and then if we combine the position in the future or whatever with zoning, is that gonna be too much for one guy to have all that and Hancock duties?
So I look at it as one or the other, maybe.
Yeah.
I think if you did the sharing with Hancock, it would be just environmental health. It would not be the zoning part of it.
Yeah, but if we had our guy doing the zone, or if we had him doing our zoning also, and then just environmental down there, Would that
the other
be-
choice?
would that be?
There's actually three choices, like we are now, combining the two with zoning and combining the two environmental services.
One thing you might consider is getting a car for the person. You'd save some money over time,
Mileage
because
wise.
mileage is fairly pricey.
And you might be able to justify a car if it was covering two positions. You know,
So our current zoning person, does he have the desire to, take on the environmental services too?
no idea.
You know, that's another discussion we gotta have, is if we're gonna combine the positions, we either gotta go a completely different route with somebody different for all of it, or, leave it the way it is. Possibly share it with Hancock, I guess.
Well, and then if we combine zoning and environmental health, is it gonna be still part-time or is it gonna be full-time?
And
How
I
many,
don't-
we would have to look at the hours, didn't you say, you told us how many hours that you,
About 20 to 25 is an average.
yeah,
And it's kind of seasonal.
Yeah, you know, winter is, you can't put in septics, but
yeah. And we'd have to look at how many hours, I'm sure you have that information. Yeah, so,
you might want to check with some other people, like Tim Missel or some other people that could possibly do it part-time.
mhm.
You know, that's a possibility too. If
So,
he gets, I can train him.
Yeah, it's not something you have to inherently know. You look it up, you
Well,
check
and
the
some of
rules
it's,
and the codes and,
yeah.
you know,
right, just follow the code.
follow the code, and
have a little common sense.
it's always helpful.
But,
That's why we weren't sure at our Board of Health that we were gonna accept
It's much,
this letter, because the common sense thing is the hard part.
it's much less complicated to just keep our own, if we can do it.
Well, it's kind of
Make it
nice
Ju-
because
Make
then,
Julie's job a lot easier if you kept your own.
yeah, and Julie's not interested in it, are you, Julie?
No, I'm not interested in going out and dealing with septic.
I almost got to deal with septic in the floodway once. The acreage I lived on, we were having trouble with it, and then I walked around to where the septic tank was, and it almost gave in. I sunk in.
Nope, don't want to do that.
It was rusted out underneath and not buried deep enough.
The early steel tanks
Yep.
are disappearing now.
Yeah, it was,
Well, I was working for the city of Thompson when they replaced their sewer system and inspected every one of the septic tanks getting taken out and all the installations of the new pipes, connections, and documented those.
What year was that?
1985, 6, somewhere in there. Full year period.
I was pretty glad that that tank hit rust out just a little worse, otherwise I might have went all the way.
I was
Usually in
surprised,
the middle of winter when it happens.
I was
This one
surprised,
wasn't.
I was surprised how many of those tanks should have collapsed. You
Yeah.
know, the ground was the only thing bridging it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a little rust residue on it.
Well, the county would like to thank you, Ron, for your
Thank
work
you.
here, and
Yeah.
always pleasant to work with, and
Yeah, I've enjoyed working with you guys. Thanks for the support.
You helped me a lot on my projects.
I have to admit, I haven't had to field many complaints from your department, so,
That's
you-
positive.
yeah.
I'm retiring in case they start coming in.
Yeah, you're gonna quit while you're on top, huh?
So did you anticipate working this many years when you started it?
No, I didn't. Yeah. But keeps me out of the house once a day and my wife keeps happy that way.
well, we appreciate that you're willing to work with someone new to help
Yeah.
train
You
them.
look at that list of things they need to know.
Yeah.
It's extensive.
How much?
I know Ron told me that he does have some classes, a new person, I think, and he doesn't know the dates yet. They're early spring, like conferences and stuff that will help the new person. So that will Ron will get back to us when those are.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we
So-
had that in hand, so we knew
Right.
if anybody new was gonna be able to fulfill that part of it.
Who knows what the state is doing these days too.
Is that a headache to keep track of that
Is
for
it
your?
more state or fed?
Is the state.
Yeah, that's an understatement, they're up to all kinds of stuff nowadays.
can we just, I suppose, can we just post it as it is and make determinations later when we interview and see?
I think we need to make a decision before we post.
Well, I guess, the least complicated way to do it would be just to keep it the way it is and advertise for the part-time position and see if there's any interest out there that way, and then if there's not, then we'll have to move on to a plan B, I guess.
Might be some people out there that are retirement age or getting close that might be interested. Who knows?
I guess that'd be my comfort zone, advertising it as it is and
See who,
see what we get
yeah,
for response.
we have to keep it moving too, just because of your June
And the training.
and the training.
You could put a deadline on the application so that then you could make the other decisions if you needed to.
What's that usual deadline? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, a couple, 3.
So if we post for something and then you get a good applicant and you choose or ask them to do additional duties, how does that work? Or does it need to be on the initial job posting,
Gets awful tricky if you start,
adding stuff in?
I mean, you can always put other duties assigned on there. I mean, that's what we put on everybody's.
If we were to combine the two after the fact, would you have to just post that double position as such and the current one can apply for that?
I still think that you should post that like that if that's what your intention is.
Is it gonna really limit the people who apply by doing it that way?
I think the one that was just mentioned has probably got those qualifications.
I mean, there would be compensation involved.
But I wonder, are we gonna stay within the part-time limits then by doing that?
Well, yeah,
I would think so.
I would think so. Just based on the hours spent.
It kind of depends on how many of the instances with recycling facilities we have. That takes up some time too.
Well, it should. We need to put it on the agenda next week, I suppose. So do you need a motion to accept the,
We don't have, there's no,
or did we do that?
These are all received. I mean,
Yeah,
if the board, it's up to the Board of Health on
and we did.
resignation, and we just get the thing we stamp received.
Mhm.
and there's no
Actionable item.
actual item on here, so.
Here you go.
It's official now.
Well,
I haven't signed it yet.
Oh, okay.
but it doesn't mean anything when it's received.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
We're acknowledging it,
Okay.
but thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
we have to accept it.
My wife would say thank you also.
It was very difficult for me to accept that, so, but I just want to make Donna happy.
Yeah. Well, and we've really reluctantly accepted that. And we're gonna go forward with, advertising for a part-time, is that what we had decided?
Or is that gonna continue next week with an agenda?
Yeah, we have
Needs
to,
go on the agenda.
all right. Have that on the agenda for next week then. Okay, number 13, discussion of
Thank you.
regarding public health building addition. Thank you.
We had our, thanks, Ron.
Yeah, see you later.
Well-
Good to hear your voice after your
Don't be a
operation.
stranger.
So,
Yeah, Julie, how are you
we
feeling?
had it's a different pain, but
Okay,
it's the better pain.
okay,
So, I'm glad I did it.
good.
So, our Board of Health
Okay.
meeting Friday, Tom had plans there. I believe I gave them to Carla. Susan and I talked a little bit afterwards again, and there was, a little hallway kind of thing by the charting area that she wanted, see if we could revamp that, maybe put it a wall. I sent a email to Tom, and my email that I got back from him said he would have to forward it to Gary to see if there was any issue regarding this for code-wise, and then he'd get back to me.
It's this hallway that's between the charting and here. It just seemed like it was maybe a little redundant.
Yeah, I was wondering about that area. If
So-
there's gonna be a rack there or what?
So we kind of just sort of eliminated that, made that area bigger, and was able to enter record storage alternately somewhere. You know, whether it was in through here or here.
I guess it depends on if they have to get in the record storage area during a training session or anything like that.
It's mostly you, right, Julie?
Yeah, it would mostly be Michelle or myself that would go in there, or Allison.
So it created
So,
better use of
It's-
all this space.
right. And the records that we totally look at on a daily basis would probably go sit behind Michelle up in the front,
They'd be in here anyway. So they
because
would
they're
only
under
be
lock
if
and key
Julie was-
anyway.
It would only be if you were researching something and needing to.
Right.
Some.
Right.
So that was.
So
like, you
our
could
current
go through
charts,
the
I
equipment
believe,
room
would,
and be through a locked door even into here.
right, our current charts, we have in a lock and key right now. And, I don't know if we would put those behind Michelle or just put them so we can get access to them in that records area.
Because you can always have those doors will be locked anyway. In record
Correct.
storage.
Correct.
So it could either go in, you'd have to go all the way in through here, through a door, or into here. We were nitpicking is what we were doing. Just trying to find a little more space, so this didn't feel quite so tight.
You're gonna add this space onto this
Yeah,
room?
take this out and
Yeah.
square it off.
Yeah, we'll just bump it out somehow, or, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this door, you know, could be anywhere in here.
Otherwise, that hallway's unusable space.
It's just,
Yeah, I can see the waste of space. I
and
just
then we made
didn't
this,
catch which one you were gonna add it to, whether it was gonna be the storage, just, or this, or.
yeah, we wanted to just see what the architect thought, you know, the best use of that space was. It just
Right.
seemed kind of redundant. And then this got smaller. This is that staff closet that'll probably just have a snow scoop and salt in it. We made that smaller.
You mean,
From before, it
so
was
this
bigger.
is the smaller
Mhm.
version? Okay, yeah. Alright.
So that was kind of the only changes, wasn't it, Julie,
Yeah,
that we discussed?
I guess I'd be fine with that if they do you have a preference where you'd like to access the record storage through the training room or the storage room?
I would prefer it, I believe, through,
Training. You're gonna lose,
cause on that,
you're gonna lose
yeah,
some
on that one,
space in your storage if you block off an area.
right, I'm trying to think, on that side, isn't there a, hold on, I'm trying to look at it on my computer. In the training room, isn't there a closet, and then
In the north end.
why you couldn't put a door there to go in through the record?
From the closet to there?
Yeah. Or is that not
Well,
feasible?
then you kind of taking up use in the closet. You can't put things in the way.
I think once the
Well,
architect
that's-
looks at that suggestion, he'll have a good,
I think if the door swings into
Yeah.
the record storage room, it's not gonna take any space out of the
if it's
training
right behind the door, there's a wall, it's not
Yeah.
gonna take any.
Right.
I don't see any problem
Yeah.
with it. If you don't have to get in there very often, it can come through the training room.
Just be a locked door.
Well, that depends on where I have to put my records that are under lock and key right now. You know, I don't know if I would feel, I don't know, I'd have to, I don't know,
Then
I'd
you
have
might
to
want
run
it
a,
to come through the equipment room or something, maybe. I don't know. What do you-
right,
Cause there'd be less people.
Yeah, but if it's locked,
That's what I think too.
it's a locked door.
yeah,
I think you can look at it and decide what's gonna be easiest for you,
right.
Julie.
And are the cabinets locked also? Or just the?
That we have the records in currently are,
Yeah,
because we have to hold them 7 years. Yes, they are currently under lock and key up at the other building.
I mean, but they're in cabinets that are locked?
Yes,
Okay, so really it's a double lock if you have a locked
So
door.
it's gonna be way better than it was in a separate building anyway. I mean,
right,
however you do it is gonna be much better
correct.
than existing.
I guess the thing, we were gonna put a kitchen in there, weren't we, or not?
Just a sink, right, Julie? Just a
How
sink.
long a counter then?
He moved it to the south side, if you can see that.
Oh, okay, all right, so it got it out of the way there.
Yeah, he got it out of the way there, so he put that on the south side that we discussed, and then where the A's are that we were talking about, that hallway, that was the janitorial supply, and he put that in where the mechanical is.
That's a better
So then he
use of
puts the
space.
A's there, yep, and then he fixed that door by the ramp.
Okay, so in the training room, are you gonna be having a pull-down screen or anything? Or boards, whiteboards, or?
Well, that whiteboard that's in our conference room now can be moved into this training room because that conference room is going to be split.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is, for purpose of meetings, are you gonna want a pull-down screen for PowerPoint, and things like that, or large room zooming or whatever?
You can just get those stand-up screens to pull down, which can probably be stored in that closet.
It would be easier if
I
it
mean-
was coming from the ceiling down, it's out of the way.
So,
Then you
yeah,
have-
whatever is cost efficient for this building.
Well, the reason I ask is because if you come through the training room for that door, we want to position the door maybe to the south end more.
Towards the corner, at least, so
Corner.
it's.
Oh, towards the corner here?
Yeah.
Yep, I see what you're saying.
Because you got a door
Yep.
in the north end for the closet.
Just to keep open wall space, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha, I see what you're saying.
That would be my
Yep.
suggestion.
Okay. So just slide the door over a little bit to the west, saying?
Right next to the bathroom is where I'd put the door. Going into the storage room, or into the records room.
Right.
From the training room to the records room.
Oh, gotcha, right there. Okay.
The door would almost stay in the
I
same
see.
place.
Yeah.
No, the door comes around, well, the door is there now. From that hallway that.
It'll
was
swing,
unusable,
and it'll
you're
swing
bringing it over
into the
here
room.
from the
It'll
training
swing
room.
into the room against the wall, so it's
Well,
not
the
gonna
wall.
take up.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Because if we make the, what do they call that room?
Records?
No, the ones where there are 3 chairs here.
Oh, the
Charting?
charting,
Charting room, we're gonna make that bigger,
right.
and then that's gonna move over. There was a door right in the hallway. I thought the door looked like it was back further already.
It's
but
back
almost.
further, but
In
you're
the hall.
eliminating that hallway.
You're eliminating the hallway, so the door would almost stay in the same spot it is now.
So that records room will have a jog out in it, and the door would be right here.
I think it's a better use of space, and, sometimes
Well,
those
then you're
hallways
too
are,
crowded in that room where they're.
well, it's a way
Sure.
that they can distance, if we ever need that again. Was there anything else, Julie, that we talked about on Friday?
No, not that I can remember and think of.
Well, and then along with this agenda item, I'd like to bring up my letter that I received from Mark Thelma on acquisition of property. I guess he and Jason Petersburg had gone over the parcel, and I think were gonna make sure there was easements for utilities. Trying to see where that says. Yeah, we are addressing the existing utilities by adding utility easements. Mark is asking us, because since WCTA is a RUS borrower, we may need to a request for partial release of this transaction on their end. And then we wanted to, they wanted to know what consideration is the county willing to offer for this land.
What consideration?
How much are we gonna pay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you talking monetary or consideration, like we'll give them some kind of favors?
It's a technical term.
So we need to write up something.
So is this
For
something
him.
that we need to have a closed session with the attorney to discuss what we would be willing to offer? So put that on the agenda for next week to have a closed session
Is she
for that
available?
purpose. Well, and she wouldn't necessarily have to be there, but we need to discuss it. We need to have it set up what
Do
they're
we
offering.
have
In
to
the
have,
meantime, are there issues that we have to ask the city about too, or have we
We
determined
need
that?
to, we need to get on the agenda of the zoning and address the parking.
Yeah.
See if they would waive that parking since and maybe we need to have a discussion with the Methodists. We already use their parking lot. I don't know what our agreement currently is with them.
and I think they just let us use it.
Who plows who plows our facility down there?
You'd have to have Kevin, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do we need to get
I'm not sure.
appraisal?
I just know, I think when I started we could use the Methodist parking lot, except we just had to watch when there was funerals and then not park there.
Right,
But I don't know if that was a written agreement or
right.
not.
How many parking spaces will be on that north side there, will be created? Do you know?
Trying to remember what,
I'm trying to remember.
on these.
4 or 5, isn't it?
I thought it was 4 or 5.
No, it doesn't show that.
I saw something that had marking, so I don't want
Yeah,
to see.
one of the drawings did, yeah. Doesn't show it on that one? No.
No.
No, I'll see if I can find it. Hold on.
Well, regardless, what they're saying is because we have an increased capacity, they're gonna want more spots available. And we can, request a waiver for that, knowing there's adjacent parking.
Yeah.
But do we want to try and have confirmation from the Methodists that they're okay with us using their lot except for funerals?
Well, we're creating 5 extra parking spaces.
But we're taking away
Yeah, we're,
spaces.
Well, but there's 10 spaces or whatever right east of the building that are
Not
not.
anymore when you get this done. Because you're gonna only have probably, yeah, I'd have to see that other
Yeah, I'd
drawing
have
to
to see
see
that
how
too.
they
I'm
drew
just
it.
wondering how many are we really ending up with?
I thought he said we were going to be losing 2 or 3. I'm trying to find that.
Losing 2 or 3
Yeah.
there, but gaining 5, maybe, and so it's a net plus of, 2 or 3. But you're more than doubling your size.
Right, and there'll be
Okay, I
actually.
kind of found a tentative plan, and on this one, there were 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So
This was back in January, Terry. I can forward this to you guys.
So there will be more employees there
Well, possibly.
too.
What they're saying is the capacity of the building, not some employee, the whole capacity is there.
It would be good to talk to the Methodist Church, and we need to get on, do we need to get on the,
I'm just wondering if we should be talking to the Methodists before we go to the zoning.
who's president of the board of the Methodists or anything?
Well, Robert was our last information.
Yeah, he had lots of information from, maybe we could ask him. I would think if they know that we're not like eliminating all of our parking, we're actually adding some parking, it wouldn't be as big of an issue.
So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe, 11. Plus the VA. VA is not going to change. And we're going to eliminate, you said that you were going to be eliminating 4 in that area?
I thought he told me 2 or 3.
Oh,
The front,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
the 2 up by the front door, where that's going to be,
And,
and then the
corner.
one back in the corner, in the the east corner?
Yeah, the northeast corner.
Yeah, northeast corner one.
Okay. Well, I guess I could give Robert a call, have a discussion with him, and then try to work with the city on who to talk to there, once we find something out that way, if you're okay with that. It's all just discussion right now. And I can bring back some information next week. And you guys can think this week on what our consideration would be. Discuss it next week.
Consideration for
Purchase.
In closed,
then
in closed session.
unfortunately, the property is linked to the building, so you can't look it up on the website what
Well,
that
we
actual
can
parcel is.
estimate.
But yeah, it's, yeah, give them fair market value.
I thought they were originally talking about in kind or,
Well,
They can't.
because of that RUS loan, they probably have to at least establish that consideration.
And have a proposal.
That's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
And, or maybe the RUS is saying, no, you can't do that.
Mhm.
Don't know. So we put it forward. All right, well, that's all I had on that.
Okay, well, guess we can move on. Thanks, Julie.
All right.
Feel better, Julie?
Oh, I will. Trust me. So we're on the agenda for next week then too, for Ron and the building, correct? I have that understanding right?
Do you have that down? I think we're planning on discussing both next week, yeah.
Ron, for sure. I know.
Okay.
I can't remember if we actually,
This one we need to discuss, possibly in closed session.
what's that?
Doug,
WCPA.
Oh, yeah.
no plan on it.
All right, I have it on my calendar. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Julie?
Okay. Discuss Atkins contract for election equipment.
Atkins sent us a contract that was similar to the one they sent for Hancock County. They gave us 3 years with no interest. I had originally planned to pay it all in 1 year. So how do you want to do it?
Julie.
Well,
Has left.
I suppose it'd help our budget if we could spread it out.
3 years, no interest.
And we're gonna do a public hearing anyway, so we could just add it to that one.
How much is it?
$53,549.
Is there maintenance and stuff on that?
That's separate, $10,305.
A year? So, how many years? They let it go?
So the 10,000 is every year.
Every year, for
Forever.
as long as it lasts.
The 53 is, it'll be $17,849.67 for 3 years.
It'd be 53,000 every year for 3 years.
No, 17,000.
7,000.
I guess I'm more inclined to do that if they're doing interest free.
I would too. We like 0 interest.
So with maintenance being 10,000 a year, last 10 years, that's $100,000, $150,000. And my point is at this point in time, should we even be thinking about buying more? There's gonna be a movement going to nothing but paper, I think. And what do we count every year, 3,000, 4,000 votes on a big election?
So this type of equipment is similar to the old one, or how is it different?
It's gonna be faster. It's going to,
If you figure that the contract's gonna last 10 years, you're gonna have $100,000 worth of maintenance stuff, plus the 50-some thousand up front. And then if you take that total of 150,000 and divide it by $15 an hour, that's 10,000 hours worth of time you could pay people around here, and all the money will stay around here.
At current salary.
Yeah, the current salary, if that goes up, it'll go up, I guess, but then all the money stays around here. There's, some stuff that I've got. She going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
I'll wait till she gets back then. Have you heard of what happened Friday night with our Secretary of State moving to get us out of ERIC? Have you ever heard of ERIC?
mhm.
Electronic Registration Information Center. It's at one time had 32 states in it. Now there's only 25 because Iowa is quietly Friday night. Our Secretary of State put out a tweet that we are going to be getting out of that because they found all kinds of nefarious things going on in it. It all involve the computerized voting systems. And I've got a little history of that whole thing here when she gets back. So. Friday night, the Secretary of State quietly sent out a tweet saying that Iowa is going to join the states getting out of a thing called ERIC, which is Electronic Registration Information Center. And it's being used by 32 states at one time. Now there's only 25 left, and there's going to be more defections to come. They have been caught not purging the voter rolls. And I've got a little history of that whole thing here. In 2012, our Democrat Secretary of State, Matt Schultz, supported by Democrat Attorney General Tom Miller, tried to purge the Iowa voter rolls of people who shouldn't be voting, and then got tied up in court by the ACLU and other left-leaning groups. In 2015, our new Secretary of State, Republican Paul Pate, comes in and drops the appeal in the courts that were started by his Democrat predecessor and says there's a better way to do it. Which in 2019, Judicial Watch files a suit to purge Iowa voter rolls, and our Secretary of State dismissed it as false information. 2021, Paul Pate removes 294,000 voters from Iowa active voter rolls. 2023, Friday night, March 17th, 2023, Iowa Secretary of State Paul Pate issued a quiet tweet. My office will be recommending resigning our membership from ERIC, the Electronic Registration Information Center. At one time it was used in 32 states, now only 25, with more defections to come. It's used in all the swing states that have the most voter fraud allegations. So is getting new machines at this point in history. We may be getting those new machines and end up not using them in the end, possibly. They have some really good ways for counting votes. France has all paper ballots and they get it all counted in one night. And there are better ways out there to get the paper ballots counted. And then it just, even if there is, I don't think there can be fraud at the Winnebago County level. In order to have it, the fraud at the county level, you have to have people that are compromised. And this is one way that it happens. There are some other ways that it can happen, which usually involves absentee ballots. And I'm not exactly sure that until this is all cleared up, that whether we should be moving forward with buying voting equipment.
The problem with hand counting ballots is that people make mistakes. And the machines don't make mistakes.
But the problem with machines is they can get bad information off the voter rolls and be used for nefariously. Not here at Winnebago County, because we're too small. It can't happen here as easy.
But you're talking two different machines. The machines that I'm buying today are talking about, they scan the ballots. They don't get information off the voter rolls. These machines simply scan ballots.
But even so, we could hand count them, and people do make mistakes, but then that's why you have recounts, which can be inconvenient. If it's close enough, there'll be a recount. If it's not close enough, there won't be.
But you have
But
nothing
we
correct
can
to compare it to.
We can keep all that money in the county by hiring people to count these paper ballots. They count them at, like say at Buffalo Center, and then they get counted again here. Even if you counted in Buffalo Center, I don't even know if you necessarily would have to recount them, but maybe there's a law saying you have to. But,
You talk to the poll workers. You talk to Karen Myring. You talk to, who's in Thompson? You
Sharon and Ann and
you talk to people in Thompson. You talk to your people in Lake Mills. You'd see how many people after an 18-hour day want to hand count ballots.
well, and some of them aren't that busy during the day. They can be counting them as they go along,
You
too.
can't count them as you go along. You're not
Right.
allowed to count ballots
Well,
until 9 o'clock, or when the polls close at 8 o'clock. That's a
well,
law.
I have also seen those same people you're talking about in Buffalo Center really struggle to get that computer system. I mean, I've had to help them through it a couple of times, trying to get the final stuff out of those machines and going through the process of it all. And I would think the few hundred votes that would be in Buffalo Center, in that same amount of time, you could dang near count the votes as it does to take to get the final stuff out of the machine and then package them up and get them ready for you to remove them. And we wouldn't have to be driving around removing them anymore. We wouldn't have that expense anymore. Hand counting votes in Winnebago County with as few votes as there is isn't that intrusive a thing. And you could hire 10,000 hours worth of time with the price that it would cost to help with the counting of the votes. Because we already spend the money to have them there all day. The 10,000 hours would just be the what we have left for counting the votes.
so you're thinking the poll workers are gonna stay there past 9 o'clock and sit and count all those ballots? And when you count the ballots then by hand, say at the poll, you're also documenting it into each category, like each position. That seems a little complicated. I don't know
Does the
what
machine do all of that? It categorizes it and puts it where it needs to be?
almost like a spreadsheet type
Like,
thing.
yeah,
It populates it.
that's the word.
To me, it seems pretty complicated on a big election to have all that counting and, populating each position.
I'm not even sure that it's legal not to use machines. I think it's, I don't think it's, I think it's, you have to use machines. Any federal,
I can't believe that would really be true. They used to count votes all the time without machines.
yep.
And we're
yeah,
talking
that's-
a population higher then in Winnebago County than it is now. And,
I would be willing to call the Secretary of State right now to find out if that's legal, because I am pretty sure it's not legal to not use machines on a federal election.
Well, that would save a lot of discussion if we could just do that.
I'll go get the number.
Your point is taken. You could pay a lot of hours.
pay a lot of extra help to count the votes. We don't even necessarily have to have the votes counted by the people that are there all day. We can have people hired to come in and count the
Second
votes.
shift, kind of.
Second shift, come in and count the votes. And then all that money will stay here in Winnebago County because we paid it to citizens. And I think there are
You are the only participant.
Shoot. Do you want to dial, please?
See if we can mess this up.
And if I've heard right, there are places in the United States that already do a hand count. So if it's a federal thing, then it can be a federal thing, and those places are already doing hand counts. There are counties, really, really rural counties that don't have machines already.
Where's the button for the hands-free?
But for what?
Hands-free.
Is it-
You have received a 2021 biennial report delinquency notice. Please hang up our Business Services Department at 515-281-5204. Again,
Sorry.
if you have
I can
questions about your
clean it.
2021
Something wrong. I can-
biennial report delinquency notice, please hang up and dial our Business Services Department at 515-281-5204. If you have an elections question, please remain on the line and listen to the following menu options closely, as they may have changed. If you
Supposed to email.
See, we don't even need to have the poll watchers during the day to be the ones counting. We can hire other people to come in and count the votes at the end of the night with that money. So they don't have to put in the extra overtime.
Secretary of State's office, this is Michelle.
Yes, Michelle, this is the Winnebago County Supervisors and the auditor, Carla Weiss, and we are trying to determine whether we're going to purchase new equipment for elections, and it was brought up to our attention this possibility that we have to use electronic equipment. Can you tell us if that's true or not?
Let me have you talk with someone else that's more knowledgeable. I'm just writing this down. You need to know if you should be using electronic equipment.
There was a discussion whether we should go back to paper ballots, and it was discussed, do we have to use electronic equipment?
Okay, and what was your name, sir?
My name is Terry Derby with the Winnebago County Supervisors, and we're on, on speakerphone for the whole group.
Okay, one moment.
I also don't think this is a quiet tweet.
Yeah, but it wasn't advertised.
Well, tweets aren't, I mean, it's on his website.
It's on the website, but it hasn't made the news.
Well, what do you, I mean, that's pretty cool tweet.
Nobody had heard about it yet, though, had they? You wouldn't have heard about it unless I brought it up.
Well, it's on his page. If I'd go out there, I'd read it. I mean, I
Yeah, but
just,
how often do you go to his page?
a lot. I took yesterday off. That's why I haven't been there yet.
It's,
By the way, my first day off since January, since last, well, just, I don't even know when the last day off, but
You're
anyway.
gonna get me to say you didn't deserve it.
Eric. To search to get that.
It's supposed to be purging our voter rolls, not allowing double votes and all kinds of stuff.
People that died.
People that die and.
It's actually, it's not, Eric is a site that, it's not actually a site. It's an organization that connects the states together. So it's an organization that would, like, if Minnesota had somebody that registered in Minnesota, it would notify
So
Iowa
it
that
cross-references.
it cross-references the states.
And what does it stand for though? ER.
Election
I don't know.
records, information. Council. Good morning.
Hi. So I was referred to our handbook. It's pre-election chapter, and it's on page 54, and it tells you when equipment is required. What kind of election is it?
All of our
Just
elections.
any elections.
Okay. It says that voting equipment is always required. For school, city, voting equipment is always required for cities more than 3,500 people. You have access to our handbook.
Yes.
Okay.
Not right
I
here,
would
but
be-
it's in across the hall.
Okay, but on page 54 of the pre-election chapter, chapter 2, it spells it out for you.
Okay, so what's the definition of equipment?
It would not be hand counted, it would actually be a machine for
Okay,
the voting equipment.
I didn't know if definition of equipment just included paper, pencil, and spreadsheets and voting booths.
No,
All right, we'll look into that further then.
okay. Let us know if you have any other questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, bye-bye.
I'll go get my book.
See, it works.
It's a big book.
It is a big book.
Page 54, chapter 2.
I can't understand why they would make a law where you couldn't hand count them if you wanted to. What would be the reason for that?
Okay, when equipment is required, the requirements for using voting equipment are listed by election type. Primary, voting equipment is always required. General, voting equipment is always required. School, the auditor must determine whether the using the equipment would be less expensive than using hand-counted paper ballots based on voter turnout for recent similar elections and other factors likely to affect the turnout for the coming election. If so, based on those factors, using hand-counted paper ballots would be less expensive than using the voting equipment. The auditor may use hand-counted paper ballots. However, eligible electors may petition the auditor to use voting equipment. The petition must be signed by at least 100 eligible electors of the school district received by the auditor by 5 p.m. on the 42nd day before the election. Best practice. Use voting equipment for all elections. Use of voting equipment provides ADA/HAVA compliant machines to each polling location. City voting equipment is always required for cities with more than 3,500 people. For cities with 3,500 people or less, the auditor must determine whether using the equipment would be less expensive than using the hand-counted paper ballots based on voter turnout for recent similar elections and other factors likely to affect turnout for the coming election. If based on those factors, using hand-counted paper ballots would be less expensive than using voting equipment, the auditor may use hand-counted paper ballots. However, eligible electors may petition the auditor to use voting equipment. Best practice, use voting equipment for all elections. Use of voting equipment provides ADA/HAVA compliant machines to each polling location. Special partisans election, always required. Special county elections, always required. Special city elections, always required. Population less than 3,500, same rule as city elections. Special school elections, same rule as city or school elections. Benefited district special elections, always required.
Sounds like they're required except for some school. Right?
Yep.
Isn't it kind of odd that they would make a rule that require the use of electronic machines?
Probably goes back to the ADA thing.
You should be able to choose to do it however you choose to do it.
So was that chapter 2 that you were reading in that, on page 54, or
Yes.
no, you read the whole thing? That applies to that.
Yep. I mean, then it goes into preparing your equipment and testing the equipment and delivering the equipment, security policies, public tests.
I think there was one line in there that said shall or something. I mean, it was pretty definitive.
The other thing with best practice was indicated on part of it. That was just in one.
Yeah, but while you were out.
No,
I read the first part was primary elections, voting equipment is always required. General elections, voting equipment is always required. And then each section was best practice, voting equipment is always, use voting equipment for all elections.
You missed that first part. That
So
sounds pretty
even if
definitive.
it's cheaper to count it by paper, you still have to use the machine. And that just seems really odd to me that rule was made in the first place.
There's a lot of rules in the world that are,
There's a lot of things in this world that are
Unfunded mandates are also.
Why do counties do federal elections in the first place and state elections in the first place? Unfunded mandates.
Would you trust the federal government to do them?
No.
so
Well,
can we look at that contract again? Do you have it in front of you?
Yes.
this one,
No, hers, yeah. Oh,
that's the equipment.
That's a purchase price, that's the contract.
And with what's coming down, is now the right time to buy new equipment, or should we get by with what we got until we find out exactly what's happening?
Well, here's the deal. When I first started, Jennifer had just bought the election equipment that we have. So what have I been the auditor for? What did you come?
I remember budgeting for the equipment.
So it's, I,
Must've been my first year that I was here in 11,
so it's at least, I think it's at least 10 years old,
12.
12 years old. And what do they say computers are supposed to last, 5
Well,
years?
You had software problems last year, didn't you, on some of them, and
Yeah, they're getting
almost non-supported, or?
well, they're still supporting them, they're just getting old, and it's just time. It's,
I'm not saying it's not time. I'm just saying that the time may be coming. And I guess I'll be on record stating that I'm not exactly sure this is the route we should take. And maybe I'll be proven wrong in the future, and maybe not. But there's a lot of things out there that a lot of people don't know about or don't want to find out about.
Well, maybe if we sign the 3-year deal, then after the first year, it all heck breaks loose, and we decide this isn't the way to go, we stop making payments and give them their equipment back.
I guess we can do that.
So this is the purchase agreement.
I guess we have to use machines if it says shall for now, but in the future it may not. But,
So we'll go.
and this replaces everything we've got.
no. I've already bought those DFTs, so we don't need to replace those.
And they're all compatible together and all that
Yep.
stuff. And is it been made easier to use?
What's that?
It gets kind of confusing for the shutting down at the end of the night.
It should be easier, and the boxes should be easier for them to use. The back doors are easier. They don't have to. It just should be easier. And if you guys want Mark to come and show you the equipment before we do this, I can have Mark come and show you the equipment.
It is what it is. I don't know if we necessarily need to see the equipment. It's just, we could keep all this money spent on Winnebago County citizens if we go back to the county by paper, but we can't do that yet, so we've got to either move on with the new machines or reuse our old ones again. And you don't want to do that, so.
Well, and I can reuse the equipment. I don't have a problem with it. It's like last election, I had three recounts. So it just takes more time. So I'm happy to do that if that's what you want me to do. It's,
I'll commit to being in favor of the 3-year purchase agreement.
Yeah, I will too, I like the stipulation of if everything goes to heck, there's a termination ability at least, or,
Well, with that, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the Atkins contract for elections equipment over a 3-year period. I'll just set a public hearing next week, I suppose.
I'll second.
And I'm not necessarily against it.
Good questions. It's a good questions to
I'm
ask.
just saying in the future, and then there is a out clause in this contract, so I'm just saying in the future, this may not be the route that everybody's taking. Okay, a motion Derby, and a second from Smith to approve the Atkins contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And,
It's not a diet program.
I mean, if we have to do it,
Atkins.
if we have to do it, then I'm in favor of moving forward with new stuff to make it easier for the people working the polls and our auditor. If we didn't have to do it, I guess I'm not even sure I was gonna push the fact that we weren't gonna do it all. I just wanted to get some information out there.
That's a good point.
Good point.
I think there is a spot on that contract you have to sign though.
I had it, yeah, that one right. You mean the second part that he handed out?
Vice President, Dustin, authorized signature, Winnebago County. This whole section must be for me here then.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the 21st today?
Yes. Kelsey will be right down to talk about the Scott Living thing. Be right back.
Maybe while she's here, we can jump back up to open forum and find out where that Roger Cruz, where's that's
I thought we were gonna have that on the agenda today.
But I think Matt's gone. I think he's on vacation.
Yeah, see what I built for my wife.
I want one of those. How much to build another one?
It's a lot of work.
Oh, greenhouse.
I've been actually shopping for those.
I got one off of Amazon, and I looked at one in Mason City, but
Hello. Hello.
they're chintzy.
How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. Anybody healthy at your house?
Knock on wood for the last 24 hours, yes. There's normally some sort of ailment going on between my kids, but
Where's Matt in here?
daycare will do that though.
Yeah. Where are you finding that out with my new little grandson
Oh, yeah.
in Denver?
Especially this time of year. Hopefully it'll start to get a little better.
So you're on the list for the rural recycling, but I don't think I've been CC'd in those Roger Cruz things, conversations with you and Matt. Did we end up getting the letter written and the fee fines
I
established?
think he did.
Okay,
I'll have to check my email. I'll
okay,
look.
that'd be great.
Yeah. I know he had sent me something after. Yeah, I'll look and I'll forward it. If you're not on it, I'll forward it. I was thinking you were CC'd on it, but
I've
maybe
just
not.
been getting questions again and just,
Oh, sure.
I'd like to know what to tell him.
Okay, we almost have to sign this one. Winnebago County, Iowa, authorized representative, printed name and title, authorized representative, printed name and title, it's on there several times
What's that for, Bill?
for the contract.
Oh, the contract?
Of course, I've got all the pages mixed up now, we're gonna have to sort them out.
So all of us have to be on.
I would assume. I was just thinking of pages on it.
It's gotta be Roberts, right? It's not Scott's.
I don't know, probably Scott's.
Well, he'll be back then.
I'll get it put back together though, don't worry about it.
Oh, boy. Okay. Consider for approval contract with Scott Levin for rural recycling.
So I had sent out my comments or concerns a couple of weeks ago. I know you guys discussed it, or I think you guys discussed it last week while I was in court. I don't know what the result of that discussion was, so I need some direction as to what to do for changes.
And I wrote some stuff down, but I didn't get all of it, or I didn't, there's still some stuff that she wants.
Yeah, so Carla gave me this morning, before the meeting, some comments, but it doesn't address everything.
Do you wanna just go through it? with
That would
us
probably
right now?
be easiest,
That'd
yeah.
be easiest since I'm trying to recollect and I can't.
So the first thing was the term, I don't know, do you guys have a copy of this? Okay, well, I don't know that you'll need it, but the term, so the language that was in here was contradictory because at first it says it shall be for 3 years and then, can be renewed. But then it said the contract will continue until canceled, which means it's a perpetual contract. So it has to either be for a certain term with renewal provisions, or it can be perpetual until one party terminates. I don't have a preference either way, I just need to know. Right now, both terms are in there and they can't both be in there. I have to go one or the other.
So you're under 4 or term?
Sub 2, Roman numeral 2, term. Oh, that's
Where's
not
two?
page numbers on it. Page
Oh, I was
2
just
on
gonna say,
my
it must be
copy.
on the back of that one, too, Chairman.
So a 3-year contract with a renewal versus a,
Just like a perpetual
Perpetual.
contract that just
I think
continues until a party, like, then you just make sure to have termination procedure in the contract, obviously.
I think
I
that'd be
think we
better
need, what?
to have a perpetual, but we can have an out by giving them like 90 days
And
notice.
so can he.
I thought
Right,
that, I
it'll
thought
go
we already
both
had that
ways.
in there somewhere.
But we've got double.
Oh,
So they're
no.
both, under this term provision, it just has both options and we can only have, I mean, it has to be one or the other.
All right.
I think it can just be perpetual and with a,
Perpetual until terminated, then we'll make sure that everything's in the termination.
Because it's more than likely we're gonna probably alter it at some point anyway, so we'll probably,
Yeah, so if we know that it probably will be altered, is it smarter legally to have it be the 3-year one or the perpetual?
it's
Doesn't
kinda like
matter.
just opening
Okay.
up the contract and adjusting.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, that sounds good.
okay. So this would be, well, the original Roman numeral 3, sub B and C. It's the recyclable materials section and collection of recyclables. They just totally cut off the sentences, so I don't know what is supposed to be in there. Let me show you if that's
Wow.
okay. Do you have the one with my comments? Yeah. Okay, so,
Talk about here. Fees from the
no, that
contractors.
was the
and payments.
term. Oh, here.
It was hard to read with the new A's and the new.
Okay,
Old
so
Bs.
this sentence, those materials considered recyclable, blah, blah, blah,
Can't just put
of
it
this
up there.
contract are, and then, I don't know who had
Or maybe you
edited
don't
this
want to.
previously, it was not me, then all that's deleted, so obviously that's just a totally incomplete paragraph, so I don't know what that's supposed to entail.
Trying to think, well, okay, so
Does that make
I
sense?
think R, and I wrote in paper and cardboard, recyclable plastics and glass, tin and aluminum.
Should we just print you one?
Say that again,
But I've got
recyclable,
such a disaster.
plastic and glass.
We didn't wanna get into scrap iron, we didn't wanna get into
Sure,
furniture or,
Yep.
or get
Tires.
into tires or
any of that.
electronics or.
Yeah, okay, I'll add that in. And then same thing with the next paragraph, the same thing kind of happens where it just ends.
And I put in definitions stated in B at single drop site in Thompson. Now, when it comes to that, I went up and looked at that site that Scott was kind of okay with. It's behind the library, across the alley, that shop there. There's space to have him just back his trailer in there. You can come in from the alley or drive into that parking lot. It'd be pretty easy to use.
I
Then we
looked at
don't
that too. It seemed really,
There's enough space here. You only got 2 people that park there. So we could give that address in the contract.
Okay,
It's 141 First Avenue West,
And you said that's Thompson.
Thompson.
Well, that would alleviate a few liability issues because
Yep.
it ends up being on county properties.
Easily
Oh.
accessible and,
Sure.
We would have had to do
So
something.
that'll be the site address, is
well,
what you're
it's up
telling
to
me?
you guys if you wanna do that. I mean,
Well,
he didn't want it on the highway shop because there's too much traffic going in and out there.
Okay.
That would conflict with them. Well, here you just, one time a day you have, or a couple times a day you got them going out and you gotta come in, that's it.
Okay.
He didn't have as much problem.
we talked about having it behind the old ambulance, but Thompson owns that property, so.
Oh, the city does.
It's gonna complicate everything.
Sure.
Try to do that.
there's no issue with zoning on that, is there? Or where we would put that as far as it being zoned?
I wouldn't think so. It's probably in a commercial type
I'm just
area.
thinking the neighbors may have some issues with it that are.
Well, actually, that house is in a commercial building,
Oh,
so it was commercial originally.
yeah, you're right.
So it was, I don't know how they
Okay.
converted that, so
Yeah.
for Airbnb or whatever.
Yep.
VRBO.
Yep.
Then in the complaint section, I just pointed out that it had said by the end of the next business day. I know there had been discussion about that previously, about that being maybe too quick, so I just wanted to point that out. I didn't know if you wanted to change that
I
or
think we
not.
talked to business days.
That's what it looks like Carlos notes say.
Mhm.
And via email, was that the?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay, payment procedures. So it says quarterly payments shall total 6,000 per quarter with a yearly contract of 24 for year 1 of the contract. So we just need to have some provision of like, are we then looking at this again every year, or what's the
Well, I
plan?
thought it, did he have an increase in his original?
no,
No, he did not.
So, to me, it should state for the per year for the term of the contract, and then, but we may be opening it up.
For negotiation, because we have no idea what the tonnage is gonna be or whatever, how many trips he's gonna have to make. You know, it could be, he has to empty it once a week, it could be, end up being twice
Sure.
a week, or maybe it'll be only emptied once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We don't know that yet, so we've
Depends
got,
on participation rate.
So the term of the contract is perpetual at this point,
Yeah.
Yes.
so with, okay. So do you want to do like annual negotiation of that? Doesn't mean it has to change, but, or what are you thinking? Every year you look at that, or,
well, actually, I mean, we're gonna know that within the
Couple
first couple of
months.
months, what,
Well, it's gonna take some time for people to get used to it too. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
take at
I
least
think-
6 months before we know anything.
I think annually is fine.
but
to go
we
over.
can know as short as, you know, maybe if he's only emptying it once a month. Then, you know, or if he's emptying it twice a month right away, or whatever, we're gonna know some of it right away. But in
Really
the end,
haven't.
yeah, you gotta get people used to it.
So what are his expectations on what he's, at that rate, what's he priced in there? Once a month, twice a month?
I don't know if we ever actually got into
I know,
that with him.
that's the
That's
trick.
a good
I mean, 'cause if
question.
he's
Yeah,
gonna,
because it's such a moving target that I guess,
I mean, his biggest thing is he's got costs involved with the equipment.
sure,
Yeah.
But then he's gonna have the ongoing costs of trucking it around.
yeah.
yeah. And,
Maintaining it.
I guess until we know for sure, it's just kind of
I mean, we can put in
he's covered on his bid, what he's got out there now, he's covered for if he has to end up doing extra stuff.
Yeah,
The
it's right
thing
here.
where it might not be covered is, you know, if he's doing less, you know, so I think he will probably be covered under this current contract
But that's
for
part of the
increased volume.
bid. I mean,
Yeah, that's the contract, that's the,
I mean, so I think
That's
annual,
why it can be severable. I mean, if it doesn't work out for him and we feel like it's not working out for us to
Yeah.
increase,
Yeah.
we can sever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, there's nothing that really stops you guys from renegotiating at any point, you just have to amend the contract,
Yeah.
and if you guys don't agree, then at that point,
I
you
would
know,
say
either
by-
party has the option to terminate the
I think
contract.
we need to know by budget time next year what we're looking at. So
Right,
that'll give him 8 months or 6 months at least of data
Yeah.
to go off of.
okay.
And then that will
I'll
establish.
throw some language together and then send it out and just pay attention to that section and see if there's something you want changed with it.
Recording ended.
Never heard that one before.
Okay, then the
Leave
termination,
it on there.
I don't think so.
We had that incident where we punched those numbers.
Muted. Unmuted.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
okay, so then the termination, provisions. I just wanna make sure, so how it originally read was, it read like you can't terminate just for no reason, like we just wanna terminate to terminate. Obviously, with the contract being perpetual, we wanna make sure that's in there. I would say 90-day notice for either side if they just wanna terminate because we decide to do something else. And then, so 90 days.
Because I mean, if there comes a market for the recycling, we may go back to the way it was.
Well, right, exactly.
You know.
So we wanna have that option. And frankly, I'm sure he wants the option to get out if it's not what he thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
What about though if a party is defaulting on the agreement, so that would be us not paying or him not picking up or doing whatever?
Is that the
90
down-
days is kind of a long termination period, I think, if there's a
Well,
default.
down in, right before that, that section 6, failure to perform, that's 60 days.
So that conflicts with the
Page
provision
before.
that's already in there then.
yeah.
Oh, part of it within.
If failure to perform should be a shorter window.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking as well, because,
Because
so
you
the
don't
county's
wanna be-
failure to perform would be a failure to make payment, and he's not gonna wanna wait 3 months for us to make, I mean, if we're not making good,
Yeah.
Obviously.
No,
and vice
My
versa,
guess is he won't.
yes,
Yeah.
and if he's not picking it up for 3 months, we don't wanna wait 3 months to
Yeah.
terminate at that
No,
point.
yeah, it should be,
Like a 30-day, I think, would be.
30-day would probably be
Should be next
plenty
month.
long. I mean, you don't even want a situation like that to go on.
But 30, if there's
That's,
just a
yeah.
health issue and they're trying to resolve it or something.
Right, there may be a reason for, okay, so I'll have to rework probably most of that termination paragraph, so I'll do that and then send it. I think that might have been it for my questions or comments anyway. I don't know if there was anything else you guys discussed that wasn't part of my comments.
So since it possibly will be on county-owned property now, do you have to change any of the insurance
He's got
obligations?
liability, I'm sure.
I mean, he's still gonna need to be insured.
Yeah, I don't have to have insurance.
It's just the property
We're
liability.
talking about liability, and we've already got liability
So
insurance,
that's all-
so,
Okay,
If somebody has a.
Should be, you're just gonna wanna run it past our insurance provider to let them know, like, that
I mean, if
the
somebody
nature of
gets
the
their
property's gonna change.
hand caught in one of the bin lift things, that's
They're
not
gonna
our
go after
property.
So I was just gonna say, is the equipment going to be, is that his property and
Yes.
ours is
Yes.
just the land itself?
yeah.
Correct,
But
okay.
you know, if somebody has an incident and it's our program and that happens, they're still gonna go after us too.
Probably both,
Yeah.
yeah.
They always seem to find the deepest pockets.
Or they'll go
But if
after us,
he
they'll go
carries-
after us first, and then we'll pass it off to his insurance. Then,
You know, it's just that we don't have any control over the safety of the piece of equipment that he's putting out there for the public to use.
Well, I know the one that's got light plastic lids on it. I would assume when he remodels the other trailer, he's thinking about getting the exact same lids, I think, for, you know, you would really hard pressed to, I mean, you might be able to pinch yourself. but,
Yeah. Okay.
how big,
I'll-
how big are the lids?
I'll read through the insurance stuff and also the indemnification paragraphs and
About
see if
3 by
anything
3.
needs to be changed in those.
I guess,
Not a lot
yeah,
of
it's
weight.
just that I don't know how that
Oh,
works
well,
when somebody else's property is
I've
sitting
flipped
on
it for him before.
someone else's property. Don't know.
That's where, for liability purposes, I think it'd be good to have a camera there.
Yeah, no, I think the cameras,
Scott said he'd be okay with putting, you know, Wi-Fi in that building.
Mhm.
yeah, because then the guys.
Might be at one of our costs, put the Wi-Fi in that building so it can be observed and for liability purposes.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
Can't
camera
hurt.
can be used for, I mean, even if he
He can
wants to
use
be able to look at it and see how full it is, you know, whether, you know, I mean, that could help. If it gets full before he thinks it's gonna, you can look at it and say, oh, I better get over there before the normal time. Without having to drive over and physically look at it.
Just gotta make sure we get a camera system that's accessible by both of us.
Yeah, yeah,
Usually you can just add whoever you want.
yeah.
What kind do you use?
It's called WISE, W-Y-Z-E. It's very reasonable.
Yeah, that stuff is getting,
There are tons and tons and
Yeah.
tons of options. You talk to every officer, they all have different systems.
My system at the departments isn't that easy,
Yeah,
because only one person can get that barcode to get into the system, and it drives me nuts that I
Yeah.
can't get in.
I can name multiple people who can watch or look or, I guess what I like about it is it has a speaker, so you can, if somebody drives in, you can talk through it and say, what are you doing here and why are you here? Leave.
or if it's someone you want to talk to, you can actually quick tell them I'll be there in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
Of course, with cell phones, we usually do that better.
Just leave your head in the lid, and I'll be right there.
Yeah, yeah.
So Carla, if you wanna just make sure our insurance won't have any problem, if we don't need to change anything on the policy, I'll read through the insurance provisions and like I said, the indemnification and try to work out some details on that for.
Okay.
Anything else? that you can think of?
Next week, we're planning on going to closed session to discuss the purchase of the property over at the
Okay,
They asked if we would wanna, give them what our consideration would be.
okay.
So,
Do you know what time? I have court next week, so.
Do you wanna do it early so that you can be there? Or
It would have to be probably 8:30,
is that okay with you guys?
because my court normally starts at
I'm
9.
actually not gonna be here.
you'll just have to get up before 8, so.
I forgot to set my alarm last night, and I hardly ever sleep past 7. I woke up at 8:06 this morning.
So if we're doing that, did you wanna put this, Cruz issue, the zoning and Mr. Roger Cruz next week too, so that, or do you think it's handled, Kelsey, do you?
I don't know, I've gotta go back and look at the emails. I've
So if
not
it-
had a ton of correspondence.
If it
on
looks
that,
like
so.
it needs addressing, put it on Carla's agenda.
And
After you
figure
see
out
it.
how much time we're gonna need, so she can still get going,
I know.
whether it's 8 or 8:30, whatever. or
Yeah.
8:15 even.
Yeah, I'll look at my court schedule. Normally we start at 9, every once in a while it's a little later than that, so I'll look though.
So you can figure out how much time we'll probably need.
Okay. Anything else? And then I'll have this, I'm gonna go up and work on it right now so that I don't get sidetracked and not get it done. So I'll hopefully have this to you by the end of the day. So you could put that on next week too. I won't probably be here for it, but I don't think there will be much for
There shouldn't be
questions
some
or
problems.
issues, so.
Okay.
Anything else for me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you
Thank
guys,
you.
good to see you.
Yep, you too. Discuss employment contract for county engineer.
Did you guys look at it, what he sent out?
Mhm.
I guess I was fine with it.
Let's see.
So it's not an actual item, so.
No, it's just,
We should have put approve,
Yeah, with possible action or something, so we,
yeah.
yeah, I was just
So-
thinking about that myself, that we haven't approved it yet.
Yeah, he told me to put on what he put on last week, but so next week, we need to put on approve.
Yeah.
so if there isn't any other discussion,
We'll do that.
do it next week.
Without changes.
Okay.
Okay, well, number 21, discuss budgets. Anybody see any anomalies in there that, other than the fact you've seen a lot of numbers that were changing, that weren't always the way you want to see them change, but no. Overall, if you take the budget, it's, if you take out the EMS, with the EMS, it's a little over a 10% increase. Without the EMS, it's like 7.7%, which is actually under the rate of inflation. So, I mean, the bad news is that the revenues didn't seem to be keeping the same pace, I guess.
We're gonna have to do something, especially if this property tax stuff, we're really gonna have to sit down and it's scary.
I mean, the next year.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to go this route just to establish this in the face of what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
I'll guarantee you, my legislators were awful happy I didn't come before City 2.
I heard you were heard.
Were you
And I had
angry?
it- What?
Were you angry?
No, I don't get angry. I just get loud. wouldn't like me if I was angry.
Your loud sounds a lot like angry.
No, it's just, no, more annoyed maybe. And when I have to continually make a point over and over and over again, and people don't seem to be listening to it. It's, and I was backed by everybody in that meeting.
Well, I thought Carla had a good quote in the radio. They had yours on the radio.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, no, it was good.
What'd she say?
It, you know, it wasn't that loud because she was behind him, but she discussed, you know, we should leave this to the local governments to decide. They get elected.
For you, Carla.
That's what I told them. I says, you know what, it's a lot easier for these people in this room to hold me and the rest of the supervisors responsible. They can go to our meetings anytime they want. And says, with your guys' meetings, they gotta drive all the way down to Des Moines and probably, I mean, you can't just walk in there like you can here. And,
Or as in 4 cities, you get 1 minute
yeah,
and you're done.
yeah, and it's much easier to hold us responsible for,
Well, that's what I was trying to say. If you know, if they don't like what you guys have done, they can vote you out.
yes.
They can't, it's, with all the districts that are voting them in, the people of Winnebago County can't just vote them in or out.
And if they take care of the people in the most populous area, of their district or whatever, and then the people in the outlying don't have enough votes to overwhelm the populous area. And, I mean, it's, I told them, I says, you guys are taking away local control in mental health, you're taking away local control of second judicial districts.
They're giving more tax breaks to the wind turbines.
Yes, yeah.
They should have never got it to start with.
And why are they making those decisions? That's our property.
Those are our constituents.
Yes,
I mean, and it's hurting our other constituents that have to pay taxes.
yes.
Exactly.
And,
Well, and then they're gonna cut more out of us by making the
limits.
commercials.
Oh, yeah, the rollbacks, and then they're
The
gonna limit our
rollbacks
budgets.
and you know, they're hurting us every way they can.
And in their defense, they're only fed, spoon-fed information on certain stuff down there. And I warned them guys, I says, these people spoon-feed you to get you, it's just because they don't know the intricacies behind it. They have no idea about the second judicial district. They have no idea what's going on in mental health.
People are paid to spoon feed them.
But yes, and
Exactly.
And they said, well, we didn't realize this was happening. I says, and that's what alarms me the most, is the fact that you guys are voting on stuff you don't know what is behind it all. Because somebody is leaving the information out.
It's almost like I should have said something to them about, would you trust the federal government to take over your job?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's exactly the way we
Well,
feel.
and I'm guessing that they're having stuff happen to them like they're doing to us. I mean, I'm guessing the federal government gives them some stuff that they gotta deal with they don't like to too.
I don't think it's any one thing near what we're doing.
I was gonna say, I wonder if it's,
But,
Well, I keep telling them too, like, you keep giving us more things to do, like, we have to, you know, do the back the blue. So we're
I brought that up too.
raising salaries, and then you take away our ability to levy for
I
that.
told
And
them, I says, now our sheriff's department is beholden to the state because they're the ones controlling how they get paid, not us.
Mhm. Well, and Chelsea said, she's friends with Dana Knudsen of State Patrol, and she said that Steve and some of the deputies are actually paid more than what the State Patrol is right now.
The lower officers, because we had to make the sheriff the same as a certain level at the State Department, which the just hired officers would be less than that.
but Dana's been working for the state patrol for a long time.
But
My guess is
one of
he
ours
probably
just
makes
went
as
to the
much.
state patrol.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So, but most of that was due to benefits and scheduling and
scheduling it.
Now, does the State Patrol make their wages as a percentage of their head, or, you know,
I'm not sure who did, if it's at the state office, like the Department of Safety, they determine all that probably.
yeah.
I don't know if there's a union there.
I would guess it probably is.
There's a state union for a lot of the workers. I know the DNR people are all under a union,
Yeah.
so I'm guessing they're union.
Well, I mean, it's just like the sheriff's department practically became a unfunded employee of the state.
Let me staple those, because otherwise you get them.
Yeah, you don't wanna get them mixed up like I did. So the budget discussions is gonna take a while, I assume.
I just want you to look at the state budget too.
What you wanna do. I assume you got Rotary. You wanna take a break for dinner and come back at 1, or?
You know what, I don't think I have Rotary today. I have it tomorrow,
All right, okay,
so.
then we're good. Because I could go without eating for another hour.
We have Rotary Ag Day tomorrow, so.
Yeah, after we both gave our piece to the legislators, the only one that really connected with us was Goose, who's not
Was
even
Goose?
represented.
Yep, really.
Rowley intentionally.
Well, Rowley, the first couple weeks ago, he avoided me afterwards. This time he stayed with me after everybody else left for 15 minutes. And I told him, I says, you're gonna make it where us supervisors are gonna go out and campaign against you guys. I says, no, I had your sign at my shop out by the blacktop, and Henry was receptive both times. I mean, and I'm not even blaming them guys necessarily. It's, cause I think.
Well, Rowley's on the Ways and Means Committee though, so.
He got. And Steve Anderson from Townsend was, Rowley wanted his number, so he's got both my number and Steve's. I told Steve, I says, maybe we're going down together. He had some really good points also.
So how is our carryover TIF fund doing? Are we able to keep going at the rate we're doing? They keep cutting from turbines? Because one time we had a pretty good fund in there, but now we're starting to borrow from it to make our payments.
Let me find. Do you want to call Chris and ask her to bring in the most current cash and investment report? Or to have her like print one as of today?
Hi, Colleen, this is Terry. Carla wanted Chris to print a cash and investment report as of today for us. cash investment report? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Colleen answered it. She just walked in, so
Okay.
she can do it.
You guys going to the meeting on Wednesday?
Yes. Oh, should I?
Yes.
I don't have to look, I don't,
Thank you.
he send me an invite.
He sent one to all of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
There we go.
there could be 81 people there.
It was tied in with that, message about money. Direction from the supervisors or whatever.
I guess I didn't print the mailing list.
So the amount of, payments for the TIF this year, 2.7 million, and the amount in the cash and investment as of right now is about 6 million.
All right.
And there's a payment that's due in June, and that'll
And that's how much?
probably about the same, probably about 2.7.
So we'll be down to 3.3.
Yeah, but then we'll get in, let's see,
1.9 something,
what's that?
1.9 something.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah. 1.9.
And this, once a year, we have the payment, right?
No. We have an interest payment and a principal payment.
But they total 3.3. Oh, no, the 2.7.
Yeah.
Carla, was there anything notable or unusual that you wanted to point out, or just?
Just, just that we are not gonna be able to, we're gonna have to sit down next year and really do some hard looking at the budget. And,
I mean, we're just planning on, we're gonna have to start cutting stuff out
What's that?
next year.
Yes.
Well, they said, the legislators say we don't. Just have the choice.
They're full of it, but
Okay. And what are those choices?
Whether we fund their campaigns or not.
There you go.
I left it on the floor or what?
It was right on the seat.
No, too many things.
The people
You weren't
that
missing it
called,
yet?
No, I guess not.
Wow.
I kinda got into
I guess
some-
I was gonna send you a text message saying then I got interrupted and forgot.
We were all gonna send you text messages, but then it was playing here.
Yeah,
So you could look at it when you picked it up. You know.
no, they were gonna send you text messages and I reminded them that
Yes.
it would go right there.
Carla, yeah. But that's
you're gonna
actually,
text me to let me know my.
I
don't think
did
I said I was
actually
gonna
do that
send it. I think I
because we
just-
didn't know if it was yours.
Hmm.
Until
I think I
I,
just had that stupid thought all to myself. I don't think I said anything about
Well, you know, I sat here.
We can do
thinking, well,
stupid,
he's-
though.
He's a big boy, he'll find it.
it. Yeah.
you know
I
what
wasn't
though?
gonna call.
I had compassion because I know how that is. When you lose your phone, all of a sudden you're searching
Yeah.
under the pickup seats and.
Easier than it used to be though, because you can just get somebody else's phone and tap in there and it'll lead you right to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
It was kind of bad when your wife called and Sue answered. It was kind of an awkward moment.
No. All right.
How are
Glad
you
you
guys,
found your phone.
how are you guys doing on the agenda here?
Well, yours, we didn't have an actionable item, we'll have to approve it next week.
We
Okay.
forgot,
We
I
had no
forgot to
problems.
put approve instead of discuss, so
Okay.
we gotta put it on next week.
Okay,
We had no changes to it though, so.
okay,
We discussed it.
all right, I'll bring it next week then.
All right.
We don't have Rotary today, right? It's tomorrow? Okay, that's what I thought.
So, page 4 of 18, should there be something in the special district budgets? Devoted emergency medical services? Oh, that's just partial county. The other one's up above. I see, never mind,
Okay.
I found it.
Number 10, line 10 is where the,
Yeah,
okay.
I saw that now. It just stuck out more down below.
Mm-hmm.
And in here, do we show revenue from the surtax,
From
income
the
surtax,
what?
the income surtax?
Income surtax.
Is that in here anywhere? For income?
For your EMS.
You
Having-
talked about
brain
not doing
fart.
the full amount, we were talking
Yeah,
about,
because we don't know what their amount's gonna be yet.
but
We were gonna put in
we were
some-
gonna be reserved in our number.
Yeah.
What were we gonna think,
I thought it was
60,000 or something?
I wanted to say it was 40 or 50, but maybe it was 60.
We were gonna put,
And where would that be in this page 4?
it is not in page 4 because it's not technically a property tax.
Okay, so it would be
Yeah, so it would be on the,
revenues on the first page?
It would be on page 6. And I did not put it in here.
Okay. Other county taxes,
It is not a county tax.
yeah,
It would be a,
other financing sources.
taxes collected from other governments.
that would be closer.
State, federal, federal pass-through revenues.
I wonder where
Yeah, line 16.
income tax. No, 'cause
That's-
16 is,
That's replacement, that's a
that's,
pilot,
Oh,
well, I don't know, excise though.
that's,
Sales tax,
utilities,
sales tax is a state tax, right?
yeah.
So would it be other state tax replacements?
Or state,
State
Pass-through.
replacements, yeah.
I think it's state, federal pass-through revenues. 23, 24, line 16.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I might want to ask Elizabeth just to be sure where she would want me to put that.
it would help the budget a little.
so if we don't have the dollar amount, what do we,
We were being reserved, I think, in our discussion.
what did we say, 40?
50 or 60, I thought.
We said. $40.
Okay.
And by the time we get well into budgeting, we should know next year what we actually got for this year.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be in an other anyway, so it's not gonna affect the taxes. So I might not put it in at all.
No. It would have to show somewhere, though, wouldn't it?
Revenues don't have to be shown,
We don't have to.
expenditures do, revenues don't. And since it's an other and we don't really know,
Yeah, I can understand why it wouldn't be this year, but in going forward, we would have it.
oh, going forward, of course, but
Okay, I see, yeah.
this year, like I said, it's an other, and it wouldn't affect the taxes anyway.
Yeah.
That one bill they have, they're talking about establishing 911 levy. Did you see that one? So it'd be a separate levy for 911.
Well, they have, it would be emergency management.
Yeah,
911 has its own,
that, they get the cell phone funding, but
yeah,
it was an EMS levy, I guess, or EMA levy, or whatever it was,
yeah.
for those boards to work with. So,
I saw that. They haven't passed that yet though, right?
I haven't figured out the gist of that, if it's a good thing. Probably takes some of the burden off our numbers if it's a separate levy.
We don't put anything to 911 anyway,
Well, not 911, but the EMS, because
EMS. Yeah.
50% of that budget. The city's split up the other 50%.
So you do have a dollar amount in here for the opioid litigation settlement? That's just,
That's the first one.
that's the first one
Yeah.
that you've already received?
What page is that?
We have yearly payments.
8 of 18 on line 24. Oh, yeah.
That's just yearly payments.
That is an expenditure,
Oh,
and so that is, the sheriff's asked me to put that in so they can spend some on some training.
oh.
And I told him, if you restrict this and then we have to start cutting services, then you're gonna get your whole voting base is gonna be upset with you guys. Because they're willing to allow us to go above what was the legal limit or whatever, because most people, once I explained it to them that, well, if we wanna provide these services, this is what we have to do. And I says, once we have to start cutting all those services where they're only get the roads plowed, every 3 days or whatever, if there's snow or graded, the deterioration of the roads and people waiting in line in all the offices in the courthouse and stuff like that, I says, then you're gonna start hearing from your constituents. I says, you wanna wait for that? Evidently they do. If they didn't like what we were doing, they could come in here and stop it. I don't necessarily like what it is, but I haven't seen good alternatives.
What's environmental restoration, 30,000?
What page?
Page 10. Line 4.
And what?
Line 4.
Environmental restoration.
It's under soil conservation, or the county conservation, whatever.
Environmental quality program.
Must be something else. With,
Is that
They
some
spent
of their fixing?
$30,000 on a piece of equipment. Would that be in there? No.
Is that buying the equipment to go out and brush mow?
That's, I mean, the 30,000 is what's just ringing a bell, because that's what they spent on
That's what
that.
it was this
do you have your
year.
budget book with you? by any
I
chance?
don't. I forgot to put it back in my bag. Bill's got it.
Mine's in my truck.
Probably find it faster.
Yeah.
moderator.
She was sitting right next to me too.
I
She
think
got-
her terms were more naughty.
Oh, was that right?
She was joking about it though.
I wanted to say this. We're just not being listened to, and that's really annoying.
Well, saying it 10 times doesn't change the rules. Over and over.
I think it's new equipment.
Yeah, it's that skid brush mower thing.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about 30,000 on that. I'll bet it's.
Isn't that kind of a weird place to have it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's,
Well, they go out, it's their wetland areas, they go out and brush mow,
take the trees out of it.
control the environmental areas.
Yeah.
So that should drop off next year.
Yeah.
I don't know, are they spending it this year,
Except they've got it budgeted
2 years in a row?
every, yeah.
But they haven't spent it this year?
Not that I can tell.
But as of that printing, they
Mhm.
haven't spent it yet. Well, we can only hope that it carries forward. So we'll have to keep an eye on that line item when they start putting bills into it. Make sure it's not something like the nature center or something, not really truly for that.
Well, and you can check for, when she sends you the bills,
Yeah.
look for the 60/30 line item and see if,
I'll circle it on here so I know what to look for.
or not the bills, but the, that she sends you the,
Yeah, that.
Claims?
not the claims, but the expenditure report every month.
Oh, yeah.
You can look on there, and look for the 60/30 line item and see.
Yeah, if we end up having to make cuts next year, this page is probably one of those pages to look at.
I think we just all need highlighters in our hands, and as we have a question or a curiosity about it, then that's where we go back and look too.
Mhm.
Fair, libraries, all that stuff. People are gonna really get upset you start doing that.
Might be a different conversation with the comp board too.
Yeah.
What's the next election coming up?
City school.
They have to cut next equipment purchase for roads or something. It's down the road, but it allows quite a bit.
I guess the good news is they've updated themselves fairly well over the last quite a few years. But, I mean, that's one of the first things that'll have to be cut. Start getting by with what we got.
Have to look at it in different ways, whether it's across the board, a certain percentage, they make the choices, or there's things that have less impact.
Excavators they could try and get by with. tax is something that we prioritize, I would guess.
If we lessen our routes to match up with some of the other counties around here, then, you know, the number of times they go out
Well, at least
on the weekends, then we can just say, well, call your legislator.
Yeah. Except for they're not gonna, they're gonna focus it on us.
What is the, it's on 13, line 5, what is the reimbursable MHDS direct expense?
So when mental health lost Fund 10, that's where the new Fund 10 expenses come from. So that is the new mental health where that comes from now.
So like Ruth's salary comes out of there and then it comes back from our mental health region to reimburse us for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And that's just not Ruth, because they asked me to budget another person this year. So that's Ruth plus whoever the new person is.
They're gonna get one of the, what do they call them?
like a liaison or
Service
something?
coordinators or whatever they are,
Yep.
over in this end of our region. Right now, the closest one to Worth County is in Emmitsburg, I think.
So that's why the jump on that
Yes.
then? Okay.
We wanna, and it's all reimbursable, so it's,
By the state.
this way we don't have our people spending so much time on the road to get to where they need to be. So, the mental health region in general has decided to, we were somewhat understaffed. It's, CSS was the opposite, employees everywhere.
Okay.
Somewhat understaffed for all, some of the new things that come down the pike that seem to be unfunded also.
It's just another one of those things that the state took over thinking they could do it better than the local people, and we're finding out that they can't.
Mental health, I explained to them, I says, now you guys wanna take this over because you say it's not coming from property tax dollars anymore. So therefore it's coming from the state. I said, the state doesn't have any money. You guys don't have any money. I says, it comes from our sales tax, and I'm willing to bet that our region's, percentage of the sales tax is about the same amount as, our 6 counties' percentage of the total Iowa sales tax. That's still our own money. And you guys promised that this wasn't gonna happen, and now here it comes. All of a sudden, you guys say, wow, we're funding it, you know, and of course, they had no idea, so.
They also promised us that they wouldn't cut the backfill of the 10% of the commercial,
Yeah,
and then now they're gonna double it and not fund any of it.
yeah.
I was in the room when Terry Branstad promised that they would never cut that.
Yeah. It's a one-way street. And
That's why they shipped them out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
well, and now he's on, you guys get stuff from him on, him and the governor of, Nebraska, and who's the other guy around this, they're just basically wanting us all to get on board or whatever it's, I can't remember what it is. I guess I didn't read it very much because it was annoyed me. Of renewable energies, all about making sure we got turbines everywhere. My guess is them guys are lined up at the trough and whoever produces them puts them up.
risk management services program. And, you know, the overall budget under that category on page 13 went from, 72 actual to 79 to 100,000. I was looking at the tort liability. We actually had expenses of 38,000 in 22, but we budgeted 25. Did we not anticipate that other one going up or something?
The tort liability?
Yeah.
Yeah, all our insurance has kind of taken a big jump the last couple of years. And it's continuing to take big jumps.
Yeah, and the next one's safety of work placement. The actual's almost 22, but we're budgeting 41.
Mm-hmm. I got a letter from ICAP that the insurance was going up. To budget I can't remember the percent, but they told me to budget a certain percent of an
Still
increase.
don't know on our health insurance.
Still don't know on the health insurance.
Almost April.
Almost.
This is, Jason texting and wondering, I'm assuming he's wondering about tomorrow night.
Well, he texted me, wants to meet at 3 o'clock with the city.
Today?
Yeah. But I don't think that was probably the same meeting I had with them before.
Oh, this is, I think he just,
And it's with the city and I suppose Thomas, and I haven't responded yet.
he's just asking if we're still together, I think, right now.
I suppose that would determine how he presents to the tech committee.
Is that what's meeting? It's not really the tech committee. That's,
Oh, it's not, it's just, what's he
The
bringing
one tomorrow,
together?
you mean?
I gotta see if I got that.
You better
I
reread
got something
that.
from Jason, but I didn't get one.
it's not really a tech committee because he sent it to everybody from the first group plus,
There's 81 people on it, it's not the tech committee.
no.
You mean the one from, the email from Thomas?
Mhm.
Calling a meeting for tomorrow night.
Well, we have
Well, he did.
proposed a copy of that contract here somewhere.
I have it.
I have it too.
There's some things in here that well, obviously we've had the same position on ever since the start of this, and he stuck it in there anyway. And as soon as
And that's what's being negotiated by Eilers and Cooney?
I had a conversation with Mike this morning and Mike is gonna work on our side of the contract.
The verbiage.
I have not read the new contract that Thomas sent out last night or yesterday.
I haven't had a chance to read that one, look at the budget, but
Is it worse, better, the same?
There's things that have to be changed, for sure. I'm just, we're not lawyers, but we know what we've said in past meetings, and it's not represented, so.
How we're gonna work together if we can't work together before this is even,
So what do where are we at on discuss budgets? Have we gotten through the budgets? This,
so
I think so too.
we gotta set the public hearing.
where are the proposed levies?
Page 4.
Oh, for sakes.
Excuse me.
That's you.
Everybody okay?
Do you have last year's levies, what we're currently operating?
Yeah, I gave those to you a couple weeks ago, but
Yeah,
It probably ended up in my book.
I think
Yeah, I didn't have it with me.
it should be also page 4, right?
yep.
Here it is.
Let me see if I can.
3122.
What's that?
Yeah,
It's 3122. It's this one.
so what was the general basic then?
388537.
And then the general supplemental?
General supplemental was 2.64353.
And then the debt service,
0.47287.
you didn't have anything under, go to the emergency medical right after that.
Yeah, no.
And, so total countywide was
7.00177.
7.00.
177.
Is that right?
Seems
Low.
low compared to what we got now.
Well, we went up, 1.5 in general basic, we went up, 1.5.
No, it was
in
12.75444.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You say it's what?
12.75.
Maybe my sheet's too old. Maybe this wasn't the final one.
Let me print it out for you.
All right. As this one was printed on 321. Or no, excuse me, 3/1 of 22.
This is the new one.
That is 23, right?
This is the one we're looking at. Oh, wait a minute.
No, that's 23. That's last year.
Oh, just the date is today.
That it was
Yeah.
printed today, oh, sure.
Okay, so here, when I'm looking at total countywide, yeah, 7.47. See, total countywide.
Total countywide means general basic.
Yeah,
So go down to countywide
oh,
rural
yeah,
service.
down there, but I was just going down the
Oh.
list. He was
Okay.
giving me,
Okay, sorry.
so that was 7, but still different than his.
Mine must have been an earlier, must have been the final print.
Yeah, we went up
Must have been somewhere though.
3, 5, 7.
Oh, there it is.
This is 22s. I thought I printed 4 copies of 23s, but I must have not.
So our rural basic actually went down in levy.
Holy Toledo. Can't hardly believe that.
I just like to see things side by side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Wish there are forms that allow for that.
I don't know why I didn't like this one. Oops, sorry.
So last year, our levy was actually lower than the year before.
Yep.
So compared to 2 years ago, it's up 2.3 altogether. Yeah, rural is definitely down 1.1. Part of it was down 0.7.
Good, thanks. The sheriff's salary went from 86,000 to 123,000 in 2 years.
Well,
That's crazy.
exactly what I told them last Friday. Which I made the point when that came down, I said, at least you guys could have spread it out over 3 years or something. And then, but some counties never did do it.
Yeah,
There are some that did not do it.
well, Worth
Yeah.
County didn't do it.
So they are paid this year.
They are, did they catch up though?
No.
I don't
well,
think they caught it, they're gonna spread it out, they're not gonna do it all at once like we did.
He didn't request it till this year.
So what would the repercussions have been if we wouldn't? do it?
Evidently nothing.
So
Uh,
where's the accountability?
But Mike Galloway, our county attorney, everybody said the way they read it, it had all been done right then.
I had a speaking engagement last week and we had this discussion and they were just appalled.
I mean,
The whole group was just couldn't
and like I say, I'm
believe it,
not,
couldn't understand it.
we've been giving our sheriff more than cost of living raises for years.
We were trying to catch him up before that.
Yeah, only we're trying to do it in a more palatable pace. And I'm not necessarily against, I mean, those guys have definitely got a little bit higher risk jobs than we do, and you want your law enforcement not to be able to be plowed off by criminals. so you gotta make it. And,
But it's reflecting on the city cops too,
yeah,
forcing the cities to.
of course, they've gotta compete. Every time one of our county positions comes open, and then we got one of them. Or even deputies from Fort County, as it turns out, if I remember right.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were saying that, was it Montgomery, the chief here, makes less than one of our deputies?
Yeah, that's,
I wish we could go back and do a redo on it in a sense. Our legal advice was not that direction, so. And my guess is that they probably maybe read it right, it's just that evidently there's no teeth in that.
Yeah, and I haven't got to it, 'cause we're in a meeting.
I know.
What was that?
Jason's asking about if I've seen my phone, so. In a meeting.
You might not get out of our meeting before. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, we've gone up. $2 million in 2 years.
In levy? Or
Grand total of A, B, C. Not quite 2 million.
What has changed in the juvenile justice administration program that it,
what page?
on page 7, line 30? Court-appointed attorneys and court costs for juveniles.
We switched some lines around, actually. So,
There's more stuff in this one that used to be in a couple others.
yeah,
Maybe it's all of that juvenile together. All 3 of those or something.
well, the other thing is we had, we have a person in juvenile detention center right now that is, 16. That will be there for a while. That is costing
That's some of the costs involved in that.
a large amount of money.
And we've been relatively lucky that way in the last couple of years, if I remember right.
Yes. Our luck has ran out. That's the other kind of thing that the guys down at the state forget about is when stuff like this happens, we have no choice but to
Yeah.
pay it.
We have to pay it, and if we don't have the money, what we do?
Yeah.
Just not pay it and see what happens. Well, if you ain't got it, you can't pay it, right?
And they're trying to make changes in the juvenile detention thing too.
Oh yeah, they're trying to cut their budgets too.
Yeah, in half, they said. So it's like, where's the rest of it gonna come from?
Did I show you the profile of the
Yes, you did.
one that's smarter than 99 county supervisors?
Has anybody been going to that, those meetings with Tony Reed? Anybody been,
You're the one on it, aren't you?
I haven't made any commitments or anything to it. Should I be?
yes,
Aren't they, they've been requesting our presence.
Yes, they have been.
I've seen
One coming
emails
up
on that,
this
yeah,
week.
yeah.
yeah. That one of us.
You're much more vocal about it, Bill.
This is this Friday at 10.
I'll be in.
Willie used to ride down with the guys from North County.
Yeah. I used to ride a lot of places with Ken, but you guys now, it seem to be, it's tougher to
Get together.
get that lined up, I guess. It's,
So there's no way I can do that if either of you guys wanna be involved?
I know that Tony Reed, I guess I've met him before. Probably you have too. I've dealt with him through CSS and Bob Lincoln. Hated him.
Well, I just know that there's a lot going on right now and that they've been really requesting supervisors, please get involved.
Well, Friday,
I have to be at the airport in Minneapolis that day.
I didn't come up with an excuse quick enough, you just beat me to it.
So can you get the information on it?
You know, I don't remember seeing an email.
I can
Just
forward
like-
you one. Let's see. This one doesn't have, it just, I'll forward you this one. And I'll find the one before that.
So how can we have anything budgeted for the Karen County Care Facility?
For if we have a drainage thing,
Yep.
Oh,
we have a fund, and at some point it's gonna run out. We don't put any money in it.
okay.
What time does Sally's close? Let's get to some important business.
1:30.
Kenzie's gonna panic thinking she's gonna miss out on the free pie.
It's all about priorities.
Yes.
Well, I say we just set our public hearing.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay, so let's see. Let me get back to my budget.
Okay, I sent the other one that has the packet.
Okay.
Where it is.
All right. Commission meeting reminder.
Proposed hearing
Get
date.
the second one.
April.
Okay.
That's on Friday, right?
Friday, December 16th of 2022,
2022, is that an old?
evidently.
Maybe he hasn't sent out the packet then. That's just, I just Googled, or I just searched for Tony.
Oh,
Okay, so this is probably, yeah, this is. Let me see if there's another one here. This one date is, that's current. Oh, this is the one he sent out that it's being cut. The legislative request. So he probably this week will send out the packet, and as soon as I see it, I'll send it to you.
I'll tell you what, he is so much cheaper than the alternatives that were in Des Moines and stuff. I can remember that at a meeting a while back when we were discussing this. I had dinner with him a couple times after CSS meetings.
I did see, I had a WCTA phone call while we were in the meeting, so maybe that's one I'll try and call. So what did you decide?
April 18th at whatever time you want,
Just do it right away.
at 9? Okay.
And are we meeting early next week then?
We'll let her determine how early.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm not gonna be here, but I'll call in, so.
It's when you guys send me a text message at night, remind me to set my alarm. I had the thought.
Sure.
I'm gonna set the alarms, because I set one on my phone and one across the room where I gotta get up and shut it off. And I remember thinking, I'm gonna set the alarms, and then I distracted myself and lay down. Must have thought I'd done it or whatever. I mean, it's really nice to be able to sleep all through the night on the night, but why, that night of all nights?
Don't you just put on your phone,
What's that?
your alarms and your?
No, I have one set on my phone that I can reach and I can shut that off
Oh.
from still being in bed. And, but the other one goes off 10 minutes later and I gotta get up and walk across the room and shut that one off. So, and it's really annoying. It hardly ever even gets to go off. In fact, I almost always wake up before my alarm anyway.
Who's gonna make that motion?
I am.
In a second.
Motion Derby and a second from Smith to set the public hearing for fiscal year 2023-2024 budget for 4/18/23 at 9 a.m. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.
Okay. I have to put the not max levy, the exceed levy information in there yet, so I'm gonna send that to you, and you can tell me if you like that or not. I'll probably just use the same wording as last year.
Well,
See if you like it.
until somebody shows me a good option, I guess we're gonna have to take our medicine in a
Okay.
sense. I mean, it's,
I'll probably add something about the back blue.
Trying to think what the other unfunded mandates are out there that we're
Let's
dealing
have t-shirts made that lists them all,
yeah, really.
right? Then when
You know-
somebody asks, you can just go,
When I already said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
we're still on though.
And people ask about these things, and then I start explaining to them what we get fed and have to deal with and don't get a funding source for it. And I says, that's what's driving all this up. It's,
It's the
I mean,
state.
Talk to your state.
I mean, inflation has